All right, we're live. Welcome.
Howdy, howdy.
Oh, I've had a busy day and week. How about you, Alex?
It's been a little bumping. Did some pretty good rapid editing. That was my past few days. We're just crunching through editing. So I do kind of feel that.
Yeah, I've been catching up on some household chores and getting everything set up. Yo, Dev Phoenix, what's up?
Heyo.
And I worked on my new build video. That'll be coming out tomorrow. It's another really good build. Yo,
Nice.
Dagon, what's up?
Hello, hello.
And I've also been getting started with the Reddit stuff.
Ooh, gonna shout out your stuff.
Yeah, I just got on. I had to like message the mods and send them a picture with like an image, a custom image or whatever, so that they can put a banner for the stuff I need to tweet or the stuff I need to post.
Yeah, sounds right.
And but now I gotta wait a week because I'm making an account just for my like, I guess, content creator stuff.
Yeah.
So gotta wait a week, and I also gotta get like 25 karma.
Yeah. Be like that.
So that's everything I've been doing like today and yesterday. Plus, I also went and did some shopping because we really needed it. And yeah, it's just been a really busy day overall. Oh, but that's good. That's good. I definitely need more busy days. Getting back from Norway was such an adjustment.
Mm-hmm.
And it really shouldn't have been because I was only gone for a week. But man, family vacations are exhausting.
They do be like that. Yeah, I've just been unwinding with replaying Cyberpunk. I don't know why. I just got drawn. It's like, Cyberpunk. I gotta say,
they've been doing a lot of work.
It's a lot more stable. It runs
That's
a
good.
lot better. I still can't run it at my native resolution for like my nice monitor for some reason, because I can't get it to run at 4K. Like, well, I think I think I just don't have a good enough like CPU or graphics card. But it runs perfectly fine and really well. And I think they fixed a lot of little annoying gameplay shit. There's a lot more stuff that's strictly like user experience and feels better.
That's good.
So it's definitely improved. For example, you can skip the fucking brain dance tutorial.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, you don't have to go through that really long tutorial on how to do basic shit. A lot more stuff where you can just be like, I've done that. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, I was watching some Bleach because the new season of Bleach is coming out.
That's still going?
Well, no, it's coming back for like the first time in 10 years.
Oh.
They're going to be finishing up the rest of the manga. Super excited for that. And I just can't sit and watch stuff for an extended period of time unless it really draws my attention. I was starting to fall asleep, so I had to play a game, and then I woke right back up, and it's just like, ADD sucks.
Yeah, sitting down and watching a thing is rough.
Like, I really want to finish Disco Elysium, but it's like hard to get motivated because I know I'm just going to get back in and start reading again.
Yeah. Just like think about how cool all the stuff in the game is.
It is. It's very interesting. There's lots of I want to figure out, but
just think about the chance you can get to make Kim dance with you.
That's true. Definitely probably not going to make the check, but I can definitely try.
You can certainly try. It's like the least impactful red check.
Yeah. But definitely, I do want to get back into it. I do think it's
Yeah.
a really, really good game. But my
I
brain is
would
like,
put it in my top 10 games like ever.
I don't know if I would, but that's because, well, I think it's a really good narrative and a really good story. As far as like games are concerned, it's not really a game.
I
It's
mean,
just kind of like a narrative's
to be
adventure.
fair, I think you could best describe it as a CRPG with social combat.
Yeah.
Because like the actual interrogations you do, there's like a lot there that you have to like manage, options that you like shouldn't press, like stuff like that. Like it's a combat, but there's no actual combat going on.
I don't know. I mean,
I played a very like persuasive character. That's how I felt the entire time.
I had a pretty. I have some good social skills as well, but it's just one of those things of like, it still just feels like a click, like a point and click adventure at times. The writing is really good. The characters are really, really good, and this how your stats kind of determine how you go through the story is interesting. But as far as a game is concerned, I don't know. It's not very stimulating.
I also am a big fan of things that are just like they're games but not really, where it's like that you're there for like something else. I mean that's one of the reasons I like God of War so much, like the remake, because I was like, it thinks it's a movie, and I was really hyped about it. Or Death Stranding, same shit. Like, it thinks it's a movie, and I kept playing it because I thought it was really fun.
Yeah, that's true. Yes. Transportation simulator.
It is very fun. When you're hiking and then Low Roar starts playing, it's hype. So I do like that band a lot.
I do think it's a fascinating game. Another one of those games that like I feel like the ambiance and the feeling and immersion it brings are very valuable. But again, as far as like a game is concerned, I wouldn't necessarily classify it as a game.
I will also say the combat in that game is like stupid fun.
I guess there is
like,
the combat.
There is combat, and like I will posit that the Death Stranding combat is very good. Like the actual fist fights you can get into, like where you use cargo as a weapon. Like you pick up a cargo, smack some guy in the head, turn around, chuck it at the next dude, and like grab it as it like bounces off of him. Like it's so cool. It's very cinematic.
Okay, I guess that will classify as a game. There are some actual like game elements to it.
And I like Disco Elysium because it's like, the game thinks it's a book.
Well, yeah, but it's not a game that thinks it's a book. It's more like a book that thinks it's a game.
Yeah, and I'm totally into that.
And I'm not saying it's bad either. I do actually thoroughly enjoy it. The conversations we've had about it, I think, are indicative as much. But, you know. I don't know. My brain needs stimulation, and I also need, like, actual challenge. And Disco Elysium really doesn't have a lot of challenge that's given to the player. It's more against your dice.
Yeah. I guess it's I normally need that unless I think the story is interesting enough. If I am actually hooked by the story, I don't give a shit what the gameplay's like.
I mean, I'm the same way. I mean, I played a lot of Disco Elysium even without finishing it. So I think it's very interesting. I think the world lore is very interesting as well.
Yeah. I think the definite difference between us is like I would 100% so easily put that in my top 10 games of all time. Like right next to like Fallout New Vegas for me.
That's a very hard question for me. Top 10 games, especially because you change so much over time.
Yeah, I have like
really like.
I have like a few that are like that are there and will not leave. And Fallout New Vegas is at the top of the list, and then like I think below it is Disco Elysium. Yeah, like it's a changing list with like a few things that just will not budge.
I really like Bloodborne. Bloodborne has such good combat, and the world lore is very interesting.
Bloodborne's definitely on there.
It just sticks in your brain. There's certain things about that game that just live there rent free forever.
I do deeply feel that Warhammer Rogue Trader is going to get on that list when it comes out.
Yeah.
Because, like,
we'll see.
There's so much stuff. Every time they're releasing this, like, they made an amazing thing. I wish other games did. They have a area on their site where it's just content digest, where it's like, hey, in case you missed any of our videos, here's everything we've teased and, like, talked about. Yep. And you get to play as a commissar. That's all I've wanted. All, like, from the beginning, I've said, like, I just want to play a commissar. And you can play commissar with a glorious mustache. Hell yeah, I only play through CRPGs with a very charismatic character. Like, I like doing all the dialogue in CRPG games.
I do too, actually. Usually my characters are that way. I really like my character from Wrath of the Righteous because he's a Hell Knight signifier, which I think is fascinating.
I played the Hell Knight, but not the signifier. I had a character who was an orc warrior who his entire thing was the wrathful against demons. Like, I played him. He was like it was very fun playing through that game, making a character to, like, play the game, like, as if I was playing through the campaign. Where his entire personality was like, he's a very deep down, like, he's a good person. The moment demons get involved, like, I don't fucking care. We're killing them. Like our troops be damned. This is for the mission. True Hell Knight shit. I had a lot of bro moments with the other Hell Knight character.
That's true. Yeah, Regis is great.
Yeah, I played like a Hell Knight character, and then him and I were both like, hell yeah, same brain.
Yeah. Like, being a Hell Knight's even better just because Regis is such a good companion. Probably really the best companion in that game.
I would 100% say so.
Just something fascinating. But yeah, we've kind of bullshitted a bit here. We had some people come and go. But today is going to be very, very interesting. We are waiting for some more builds. Hopefully that'll show up. Though we do have a fair amount of builds. I think we have quite a few to go over when we actually get to it. Yeah. Definitely we've already kind of picked out some that have caught our attention.
Yeah. That is a cool character idea.
Yeah, Magus Hell Knight just fits very well.
Oh, 100%.
But I can't wait for the video. I think it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be an interesting type of content for the channel. Hey, Zakir.
Yeah, more community stuff. I'm super into that.
Yeah, I really want to do more community stuff moving forward. Oh,
yeah.
I'm assuming you're talking to Alex.
Yeah, I saw. I'll say I immediately, like, interest peaked at the name, and then I saw the class you made it, and I was very upset. But the problem is, I think your build is very good. Like, I think it's very hype, but I'm like, damn it.
Honestly, I gotta say, diving into builds for Pathfinder is probably the most fun I've had building characters in any tabletop.
I agree.
It's purely from the fact that it's so well designed that you can genuinely get some very interesting combinations of features together to make very unique characters.
Oh yeah, that's the best thing about the Pathfinder builds is, like, it's super fun that, like, a bunch of the ones we're getting are all very different. Like, yeah, the Alchemist build that the Dagon did, I thought was really cool too. I think it's just based on me and who I am. I feel like it's relatively obvious which one of my favorite builds you did, Dagon. I'm a big fan of your Leshy Luchador. I think that is a really funny build idea.
And I'm so sorry to hear that, Zakir. Hopefully you get better soon.
Yeah, I hope you get better.
We'll try to make it entertaining today. And yo, Spider-Nos, it's been a while. You haven't been on in a bit. We've had some pretty fly memes coming up in the Discord as well.
Yeah.
What was that one? I think Dayon just posted it recently. Oh no, was it Crassy that did?
They do populate the meme channel. a lot.
Yes. In my youth, reminisced the old man, scratching his beard thoughtfully, I was quite the quirked up white boy. No one in the village could beat best me at bustin' it down sexual style. And were you goaded, sir? The young boy queried. My boy, I most certainly was. The old man chuckled, a merry twinkle in his eye. With the sauce, I dare say.
Actually,
So
quality, actually quality Tumblr posting. Love to see it.
Really good.
Yeah, it's super fun seeing everyone like bumping around the Discord. Also, gotta mention, I don't think I got a chance to mention it last time. I was really happy, like on in the Warhammer channel, like a week ago, giving up a actual like serious discussion on a what I'd argue a relatively problematic faction in Warhammer Fantasy.
Yeah, I mean, there's been some deep discourse.
Yeah, I mean, it's that was like me doing research into it, and I will disclaimer if reading it, and if you know more about Warhammer Fantasy than me, I had a very surface level knowledge of Warhammer Fantasy. Looking into the faction I was talking about, Araby, I certainly, that was the impression I got, was that it was very surface level, like not very well researched, like Arabic culture. It's like, haha, we're just gonna do this because it's Arabic, instead of like putting any actual interesting thoughts or like twists on it. But no, I really like that we got to a point where we can have a Discord where we can have like goofy fun shit, but also like, hey, like we can actually like talk about it like fucking adults. Like we can discuss things and no one's gonna like start screeching their head off. I love that.
That's fair. I am a big fan of deep conversation, and thank you, Z or Zay, however you want to have it pronounced, for the follow on Twitch. We've actually got almost 125 followers now.
That's crazy.
Which is crazy. It's nuts.
I think it's extra interesting because like I'm not a person who really cares at the end of the day to have a serious discourse, because for I think 99% of internet conversations, they're absolutely and utterly pointless and serve no purpose to like entertain it. But I don't know, every once in a while it is cool to just have an area where you can be like, I don't know, here's just my overall thoughts on a thing, and like discuss it like rational, like adults.
Yeah. I mean, I think in the end of the day, most people look at things and they just kind of enjoy what they enjoy and they like what they like, and they don't really put too much thought into it. And sometimes looking at the deeper meaning behind things, it can change your perspective on things. But I think everyone just, oh, right. I was watching a thing earlier from this one female YouTuber. I can't remember her name at the moment, but she was talking about like why Marvel's done very horrible with all their female leads for all their movies.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a line that was, no one wants to see female leads in movies, and thinking of all the like the Ridley Scotts and the like a lot of older movies back in the time where writers used to put a lot more effort into the scripts and such and designing characters. And for those movies, no one complained, or at least most people didn't complain about having strong, good female leads.
It's also a really sad trend, and there's been like insiders that have talked about this, where execs are purposefully not allowing enough time, or like even considering stuff that has like actual positive female representation, because that doesn't sell. Like for example, the one I think of immediately is the Assassin's Creed series, because so many of those games like were meant to have like a female like lead, like Syndicate. You have the brother and sister. The sister is meant to be the main character, but they were told no, that doesn't sell. And then they even tried to put her on the cover, like, no, she's got to be in the background. The women don't sell. Like, it's an executive thing. It's executive meddling, because it makes money, and changing means we might not make money. So it's the thing of if you're in those industries, you have to be extra safe, because if you lose a lot of money, your job is over. Especially in the movie industry, because every single movie's a gamble with how much money you can make.
Yeah.
So if they fuck up once, like you're blacklisted, can't work anymore.
And something that was also brought to attention is having characters who get shown to have very like woke perspectives has caused some movies that are genuinely not great to do much better than expected with a lot less effort, because the movie generates so much controversy that it just gets a ton of free publicity from everything. And so it can be a low effort production, and all they have to do is just add some of the woke culture stuff because it generates controversy. Whether you believe it or not, it's just the fact that it inherently generates controversy.
Yeah,
so
and at the end of the day, most people at the top of that don't care about the actual meaning behind it. They want money to roll in. Also, yeah, I think Dead Phoenix is also very accurate. That's a thing. Some execs like hold that position.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And that's super common in those industries as well. Video games as well, actually.
Yeah, for real. And honestly, it's like adjacent to what you're saying, but I thought about this recently, and I fucking hate this so much. I hate the trend in in movies where they have a villain that is really like fucking correct, where they're like, I'm a revolutionary, we need to improve regular people's status, uplift the people below who are less represented, actual good points for like a positive change in society. And they're like, and to do it, I'm gonna blow up this orphanage, because like, God forbid you start agreeing with the revolutionary character,
right?
So they have to immediately make them insane.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, the fucking Little Mermaid movie discourse is
honestly have been trying not to pay attention, because in the end, so this is the thing, right? When movie organizations do this thing where they essentially replace a well-known character with a character of another ethnicity, it's just you can't uplift people by bringing other people down, and it holds true for you can't, like, if it can't be done both ways, then it shouldn't be done at all, kind of situation.
I guess, light counterpoint, the videos of young black girls talking about how happy they are about this and being excited that's great. To see it.
I think they deserve their own princesses, though, not recolored versions of old princesses.
On the other hand, I don't understand also why the giant Twitter mob of this gives a shit about a Disney princess movie that they definitely don't care about and aren't going to see. Because at the end of the day, it's yet another discussion, I think, that in the end just doesn't fucking matter. There's no... it positively affects a child who doesn't care. And if in the future the child is like, oh, hey, whoa, Ariel was white before? Crazy. Like, whatever.
Yeah, and that's a very good point as well, is like, honestly, when you just kind of like take your head out of your ass and you just kind of look around, it doesn't matter.
Nothing matters.
You had your movie, you liked it, another movie came up, you don't have to watch it, and it doesn't matter if it feels pandery. If someone is enjoying the movie, let them enjoy the movie.
And like, I also think it's the thing of, if it's representation, regardless of even the quality of it, I think that you can have arguments that there's they should just have the you know what, they should just go back and have like actually like biologically accurate mermaids, what they would look like in real life in that movie. That'd be more fun if Ariel was just horrifying to look at the entire movie. Yeah. I'd love that. I would watch that. I don't know. I thought about this because we've talked about this last time we hung out, where I think the stance I've really solidified myself on is like, at the end of the day, if it's mediocre representation and not harmful, and people that are being represented are happy about it and are feeling like excited that they're finally represented, and it's not another just white dude, good for them. There's no reason why I would ever want to take something like that away from them, regardless of if my opinion holds any merit, which I don't believe it does for most things. So I don't know. The one when I saw a bunch of videos of like parents filming their like kids' reaction to being, oh my god, Ariel has the same skin tone as me. I was like, all right, I'm very happy. The movie is doing what it did. It is making young kids happy, and that is the point of the movie as a kids movie.
Yeah, I mean, I just think they deserve better. I don't think
everyone deserves it.
I don't think reskinning old characters is what they deserve. Like Princess and the Frog, which is based on actually, like, I guess a European fairy tale or whatever. I liked the newer version. I liked the Bayou version.
Oh yeah, it's a good story with good characters, and like the villain in that movie is I think one of my favorite Disney villains of all time.
I was gonna say he's actually probably my favorite villain. I don't ever think of his name because it just doesn't get said a lot in the movie.
Yeah, he's like this very interesting character. I also love the "I Got Friends on the Other Side" song. That's a very great. And then the ending where he gets fucking dragged to hell. That is so good. It's awesome, but I don't know. It's seeing on Twitter because it keeps popping up. Just grown men pretending they care about a Disney princess.
Yeah.
It like you don't care. You don't give a shit. The only people that I think have any merit to care about a Disney movie as an adult are the parents who have to watch them hundreds of times in a week. You have a right to complain about a Disney movie if you have to see it endlessly because your kid's obsessed with it.
I like how everyone also really likes our villain as well. Now I gotta look up his name.
Oh, is that character voiced by Keith David? Oh my god, that's a good reason then. Also, Scar is phenomenal. I think best Disney villains is like Scar. I do like Hades a lot, despite the fact his actor sucks. Definitely. I also keep forgetting his name. I also like the villain from Hunchback of Notre Dame because that is like my favorite Disney movie.
Yes, he's also a very interesting one as well. A little bit more problematic in the current day and age, but you know.
Yeah, it's
Dr. Facilier.
That's it, Dr. Facilier.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I think it's he's a fucked up person and with a bad like motive, but it's properly pointed out that he's a piece of shit for it.
Hades is also pretty damn good.
He's honestly super charismatic.
Hades is probably my number one. Now that it's been brought up, Hades is probably my number one, but Dr. Facilier is definitely probably my number two. And a lot of people love him because
he's great.
He's charismatic.
I love a charismatic villain. They're like he's having the best fucking time. Like he is enjoying himself the entire movie until the ending where he gets shown up and like outsmarted. And he's like in that moment of like the charismatic dropping for absolute fucking terror. It's like so good. Man.
I also really like I really like the oh goodness, the voodoo culture stuff of what's it called, like the like the pseudo religious culture of the Caribbean, and I can't think of the name. I'm trying to grasp for it. I really love like the mythos of Baron Samedi and a lot of the kind of gods from
it's really interesting.
Those islands. They're all super fascinating and all very charismatic.
Like the thing is when you're like searching for it, I have a bunch of names rumbling around in my head. I have no clue like what the actual right one is. It's just a bunch of words like from that mythology and like culture.
Yeah.
And it's like if I don't want to say the wrong one on accident. But like I completely agree with you. I think it's really interesting and like it's a real fascinating culture. Also, Robin Hood is pretty good. I remember watching that as a kid. I don't remember Pinocchio's coachman. I don't also just barely remember the Pinocchio movie.
It's been a while, honestly. But
the only Pinocchio movie I've thought of is that really, really funnily bad one they made recently.
But yeah, I mean, like something I've been thinking about a lot recently is if you just don't think too hard about it both ways, nothing really actually is all that terrible, honestly. Like, you have like the Little Mermaid movie or everything. When you just don't think about it, like, don't think about the old one, just think of it as its own product, it's like, yeah, that's cool. I'm not gonna watch it because I'm not super into the Little Mermaid, but you know,
I'm not a child. Like, yeah.
But cool, you know. I honestly have no reason to even think about it, you know, one way or the other.
I know I've stated this on Table Talk, but like I am endlessly just like, please, can people just understand the power of targeted apathy? Please. So many problems would be many problems would be fixed if the response was whatever. Because then it's like, oh, they don't care. Oh, because hating something and liking something makes money at the end of the day for people. Not interacting with it is the worst thing you can do. It's the reason I don't understand dislikes and hate comments. Because all you're doing is promoting the thing you hate. If you actually hate it, don't interact with it. It loses money. You don't like an advertiser, don't watch or look at the things that they're advertising with. It's so simple, but people don't understand this. Just target your apathy at things, and then people will have to readjust to make you care, which means they're going to have to actually play into the things you want. It's insane.
Also, I agree with Dead Phoenix. Live action remakes all kind of just suck.
No, 100%. They're not good.
Crazy how animations from up to, 60 years ago, or almost 60 years ago, are better than some of the shit they come out with today.
It's also, like, have you seen the comparison picture between Simba from the live action and the old animated one of, like, his reaction to his father's death?
Yeah.
Actual look of, like, terror, and you can understand, like, the immediate sense of grief to, that is a cat.
That is a cat who looks maybe sad.
Yeah, honestly, like, it's the one that was, like, really sad to see was the last, like, Academy Awards, where the whole thing was making jokes about how no one actually wants to watch animated stuff.
It's just like, we gotta have some awards for the animation, I guess.
Yeah, it's real annoying.
So dumb.
I thought we worked past it. Like, the year before, they actually were giving respect to him, and then, like, this latest one, they weren't. It's very sad. I hate to see it. Because it's, at the end of the day, like, art like that, I feel like all expressions of art should be, like, applauded in some way. Because the act of actually creating a finished product is fucking ridiculously hard. So, you know, there should be some credit that, hey, you did it, at least. You did the thing 90% of people can't do.
Yeah. And, you know, it's also kind of bad because think about voice actors who put so much work and effort into their performance, and to have that kind of just blown off as like, you're not a real actor.
Or like
that's just really shitty.
Or all these major movies casting celebrities instead of actual good voice actors. Which,
yeah, there's fair, also
I understand. That. I understand the reason for it. It's all money, so they can put a name on a poster. But I feel like also the people that these movies are targeted at don't care. Because it's like a kid. A kid's not going to look at a movie and be like, I know that celebrity. I know that name. They're fucking 5 years old. They don't care. They want, like, candy and want to watch this funny movie. It can be whoever they want. It's stupid.
But, random media politics aside, we can't help ourselves.
Before we start actual topic, I do need to go back real quick.
Oh, okay. All right, fine. I do it all to you all the time, I suppose. Well, I hope y'all are enjoying the conversation. Honestly, we were kind of thinking about what to talk about today. I'm actually making a video on today's topic, so it should be good. Maybe I'll get some different perspectives through the video, but it's nice to see a lot of familiar faces here in the chat today. It's great to all have you around. We're definitely getting back into a more consistent time schedule with everything the last couple months. We're pretty crazy with the release of Dark Archive, and then, of course, me getting COVID and then going to Norway. It's just been all over the place. Everywhere, all over the place. It's nice to get back into the rhythm of things and starting to get back into production.
I still have to actually watch Atlantis. I've never seen it.
Oh, it's a good movie. It's good.
Same
good
same with Treasure Planet. Also not seen that. And Iron
also
Giant.
a good movie. Yeah,
the triple whammy.
Oh God.
I only watched was Pokemon as a kid. I'm sorry.
Anyway, before I become any more just disappointed with Alex,
just name more animated movies like that. No, I probably haven't seen
please. I have to work with this man.
Yeah, that you do.
Yeah.
How does it feel that you can't? That if you give an Iron Giant reference to me, I won't get it?
Nah, that's not true because you'll get the main ones because everyone does them or mentions them.
I know that he likes Superman.
Yeah,
I know the kid's name is Hogarth, and that's it.
Yep, and then You Stay, I Go.
I don't even know that.
Really?
No.
Anyway.
He likes Superman.
He does like Superman.
I also haven't seen anything. I also, I'm only now working through some Ghibli films.
Anyway, I keep trying to change. Why must y'all keep hurting me?
Yeah, the only one I saw for a long while was Spirited Away. Yeah. I need to watch more Ghibli films because all I've seen is Spirited Away, fucking Ponyo, which I thought was not very good. I don't like it. You know, I'm not a child. That One Girl's Gone. Oh, I saw Howl's Moving Castle. That's pretty good. What's that one about the ghost girl, where Millie was or whatever?
Where Millie was?
That dang place Millie was at. I've not seen My Neighbor Totoro either, or Princess Mononoke, or Castle in the Sky. Oh, Marnie was there, or when Marnie was there. That's it. I saw that one recently. That was pretty good. Listen, I wasn't allowed to watch a lot of anime stuff as a kid because my parents all thought it was porn.
I mean, to be fair,
they're not that wrong.
It's like super softcore porn.
Yeah, and like I lived in Japan when they made that opinion. Because like I will say, like there are billboards of that. Oh, don't get me wrong. I've seen Don Bluth films. Don Bluth's the GOAT. I have seen American Tail and The Land Before Time.
Both.
I've not seen Secret of Nim. I've not seen that.
Ooh, it's a really dark movie.
That's what I've heard.
Actually,
I only watched Dragon Ball when I was like... I only watched anime in general when I was like 15. Like 14, 15.
Anyway. Can I change the topic now?
No. Anyways, more animated movies. No, go on.
Okay. So I hate level ups. I think they're done terribly in most games. Period.
Interesting.
Don't get me wrong. I love improving my characters. I love leveling up, and I love getting new things for my characters. I'm always looking forward to the next thing I can add to my character to help change things up. It's really great. What I dislike is level ups, how they affect like the narrative for your characters, and how a lot of power gain in games feels completely unjustified. There are some games out there that do leveling up very well.
Like
Deadlands.
Like Deadlands, yeah. I was going to bring that up. Vale was explaining how XP works in that game. I thought it sounded very cool.
Yeah, Deadlands is very cool because every session you get these chips, and these chips can be used for certain kind of special rerolls to help get your, make sure your characters survive. But you can also cash in your chips at the end of the session for essentially like XP. But if you want to level something up, you have to ask the GM whether you can or not, and the GM can can say whether you can or not based on whether they think your character's actually been working on it or not. It's something that makes the characters have to use skills that they're leveling up, so it's not like suddenly they're just like, oh, it's never came up before, but I'm actually like a master locksmith.
Mm-hmm.
And all that kind of stuff. It's great. It's great. And not only that, but like in Deadlands, you only level up a thing or two, like a skill or two, maybe like every session or every other session. But you get that sense of like very consistent growth from your character while doing so.
Slow incremental growth kind of deal.
Anima also kind of does it well, except with the creation points, because you can just pick up advantages with it, and so suddenly your character is like immune to energy damage for some reason.
Yeah.
But, you know, like what I really dislike is it happened in our Monday game. We have an automaton, and he took the enhanced chassis feat from automaton, which makes him into a large creature permanently.
Fun.
So, in the middle of a dungeon, he just grew into a large creature.
Hell yeah. Good for them.
And it's like, that's kind of jarring. Now, I probably could guess what you're thinking. These can be done better, and it can be justified in different ways based on how the player plays or how the GM makes it. There's a lot of times where GMs will say, we'll get you there, but you won't have your thing you got on your level up quite yet.
Yeah.
And that's fine, but that's not inherent to the system. So that's not a general expectation that can be held. And not only that, but because that's not baked into the system, it can happen to you whether you like it or not. Not only that, but something I was thinking about as well. If your character's in a really good spot, and then you level up, sometimes you just don't know what you want to do with a level up for a character. And your character will get new abilities that you weren't even thinking about. Like it's not that you're not a good role player and you don't justify your enhancements, but you suddenly level up and you're like, oh, dang, I was getting really into the story there. I've totally forgot about my next level up. I guess I'm gonna grow claws now, I guess, because this is like the best thing I got, or whatever. Mm-hmm. And that's also kind of just like, my character leveled up, and I kind of had to get this weird power increase or spike, even though I wasn't really prepping to justify it. I just don't like that. I don't like that at all. I also especially hate it in D&D because some classes have just empty level ups that do absolutely nothing for you.
That is pretty common in 5e. Though actually, I guess it's interesting. The when you said like I think I know what you're thinking, because no, in actuality, hearing about this, I think it's actually interesting because I don't see that as a problem. Or like I don't know. I don't think it's an issue that like I see. Really, I think it's just a carryover of the fact that it is a game. And it's like just a thing games have to do, or just do to some extent.
Well, I mean, yes, but also no, because we just went over how in Deadlands you can essentially make it a justifiable system.
Oh yeah, you can,
and it's more incremental, and it's not jarring in the story in any way. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm not saying that it's not something you just don't care about, because I can't tell you what you can or cannot care about.
Yeah.
Nor should I expect everyone to share my point with it.
Yeah.
But I hate it because I feel like it's just suddenly you go through a dungeon and your characters are great at things, and it feels unjustified.
I can see it, but like I don't know. I don't think I've ever felt like whiplash or jarred by by a sudden power increase partway through a dungeon or something. Because like when you're explaining like, oh, suddenly they're a large creature, I'm like, oh hell yeah, and that's the extent, I guess. I mean, also, like I will mention myself as a role player, I do put limitations of I only take things my character would do. Like I do that to myself. Like, and I will have a justification for why I pick everything. But I don't know. It's really interesting hearing you talk about this, only because like I'm thinking about it. It's like it's never been a problem I've noticed for like myself. I've never been like, oh, that's a bit jarring. Oh, I wish this was like baked into the system like this. And I also, on the other hand, don't really want to see Deadlands XP style in every single game. Though I think other variant XP systems should be more common. I think it'd be more cool. Like having different versions of a level up than the D&D. Like, oh, you leveled up, you got the XP cap. Play the the Final Fantasy level up jingle, like kind of deal, you know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing I don't like about Deadlands' version of it is your XP is kind of also based on your ability to manipulate dice, because you use your chips to reroll dice, and you reroll more dice or you get better reroll versions based on the type of chip you put in.
Mm-hmm.
And Deadlands is a really hard game. It's very easy for characters to die in that game. And healing is also a bitch in that game. So if you have one really bad encounter, you might be getting close to death. Though a lot of groups do play with like automatic hero, where your character just becomes undead automatically, which I understand. I don't like personally, because then everyone is just harrowed. But also, I don't see a problem with it necessarily either. Your characters are all supposed to be badass anyway. And it's a game where it's very easy to die, so, you know. But yeah, so I don't like that the two things are tied. I don't like the idea that I'm giving up character growth to not die. That seems like a really bad situation.
Yeah, that wouldn't be that fun. I can see that. Because that'd be like, I can either have this really cool, like, this really cool character thing, or I could not die. That's not a fun choice to have to make.
It's not even really a choice. You can't have the other fun thing if you don't choose to live, so, you know.
Yeah. I die or I don't die. Yeah, that's fair.
Daeon's right a bit. We're not talking about that, though, but it's, is power growth necessary? Why not just have character growth instead? There's a lot of games, actually, especially in D&D 5e, I've been seeing a lot of, where DMs just cap players off at certain levels. Yep. Or they do the capstone leveling.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's just a certain story event will push them into the next, like, tier or whatever.
Yeah, that's what Q does. And I like how it's done.
Milestone, that's what it is. I keep calling it capstone. See,
hell yeah.
I've been designing my current game system to allow for level ups. Not level ups, but to gain strength in combat. Because you actually gain XP every combat round based on how difficult the combat is. Because I do think people learn in the moment too. I think that's also viable. But it's but yeah, milestone is super common. And I think it solves some of the problem, but it doesn't solve all the problem. Personally, I love XP. I love giving out XP as a GM as well. We do player awards for our games, and players like hearing about all the cool things they do and getting XP for it.
That and player awards are a really good way to motivate good behavior at the table. And I've actually gifted out like that system, like how it works. I had another DM I knew that I played games with that he specifically asked for it because he liked the effects that it had on the table.
Mm-hmm.
So I gave him the write up you gave me on like how exactly it works.
Yeah, and I took that from Anima. So
yeah, it's a good system. So I guess like the a big question I have like from this is there a game out there that actually does leveling up good, or are they all damned because it's a level up?
What? So you mean like?
Is there a game that exists out there that you would say, like, does like power progression like that actually good?
Sudden instantaneous power growth? You mean?
I just mean like the idea of your character is now more powerful. Is there a system in a game that you would say is good? Because you've named a lot of like cool ones, and then said that there also have a lot of issues tied to them.
Well, I said Deadlands is good, but I don't like how it's tied to its dice system. I think it could have done the same thing, only without doing it, and it would be fine. Anima is also not so bad. Like I said, the only thing is the creation point adjustment. If you're asking, is there a perfect one out there currently? I kind of like Lancers, honestly.
Yeah, Lancers is pretty good.
Because
it all happens when you go back to like your base.
Yeah, your license increase, essentially. It requires essentially downtime, and then it's more justifiable for you to have like power growth at that time. Yeah. So Lancer, I have nothing to complain about. I actually thoroughly enjoy Lancers, and it even has like you can gain access to mechs and mech parts in missions as well. That's a thing that they've written into a lot of their adventures. So they even can kind of give a longer mission power boosts in a sense that way. So, like, I think Lancers has done it that way. I love constant growth in characters. I love making characters stronger. My whole point is a lot of times in tabletop games, level ups feel like your characters just become stupid powerful for no reason, and that growth is in no way relevant to how the characters actually played a lot of the times. And it's jarring from a narrative, and it's again, okay, so maybe I'm using dialogue that's harsher than what I intend. I have fun playing these games all the time. When he turned into a large character, it didn't ruin my night.
Yeah.
It was just one of those things where I was thinking, how do I roleplay with this? Especially because it's Booter, so his character's just kind of nonsense anyway. And he's just like, oh, I just went through robot puberty, you know? Yeah.
I like that answer.
I know you would.
Because what other answer could you give? Like,
I mean, well, that's exactly the point. It's just like, how do I make my character respond in a way that I feel respects the narrative?
Mm-hmm.
And there was really no good answer to it other than, I guess, just ignore it.
Yeah.
Because that's just what it is.
Again, I think it's an interesting... I just think it's interesting, and I like hearing your thoughts on it, strictly because, like, it is never a problem that has crossed my mind with that. So, I don't know, I like hearing argument from a person who has like a stake in it more than I do, because like I don't know, I've never like thought about it. I'm always just like, they got a cool new thing, and that's the end of the thought, not like justifying it in the thing. I always justify my own, not other characters.
Yeah, well, and and that's the thing too is, unfortunately, with the way we do XP, we also level pretty fast in our games as well.
That's true.
And
which
so
I do like.
I like it as well. It makes what would be like a 2-3 year campaign into like a 1 year campaign.
Yeah, I think it's important. I think it's important, to be honest.
Honestly, I agree.
There's no reason you can't like have a more condensed thing, especially if it's going to increase the likelihood the game finishes.
It's true.
Yeah, I mean, we can't all have that one guy who had the campaign that went on for 40 years.
Right, yeah, the unending game.
Yeah, that one.
And that's also really cool, Dead Phoenix. I like the idea as well. But yeah, like I'm sure there's been a lot of other games that have done experience more interesting, or at least character growth in more interesting ways. I just think that there's just better ways than the bing level up new abilities that happens in a lot of games, because it's hard to justify sometimes in the narrative. Yeah. And again, GMs have gone out to make it better for the narrative growth. If there's a sufficient enough amount of downtime that happens in your games, it can also be justified as, well, I was working on this when we were here for a month, or whatever.
Yeah.
And now I'm using it because it's the first chance I've had to do so. Or something along those lines. Like, there's a lot of ways that it can be worked around, but the system itself, I think, is inherently flawed. And not only that, but a lot of games kind of just give you experience just for being there, and not really for having your characters push themselves in any form or fashion. Like in Deadlands, you are required to use the skills in order to improve them, which does mean that if you want to improve your lockpicking skill, you do need to find reasons to use your lockpicking as much as possible. Which I think is something that makes it so the character is more conscious of how their character acts in any given situation, because you're motivated to seek opportunities so that you can then increase your character stats.
Yeah,
and I think that's
Blades in the Dark does that.
Oh, does it?
You get XP for acting like your character. So each playbook you get, you get XP for doing in-character actions with your playbook. I think it's either at the end of the session or it's when you do it. I only saw it from the character sheet perspective, which has it on the bottom, because Vale was showing me the character sheet. I thought it was really cool. Also, I guess one thing I'll mention that I've been thinking about is, like, you know how some games have the XP gain where it's like you get the more you do a thing, the more XP or points you get in that skill. Like the one I'm thinking of is Cyberpunk or Skyrim. You level up. One of the ways you can level up is by doing the thing, and like I don't know, doing it like Skyrim or Cyberpunk sounds agonizingly tedious and like annoying in like tabletop. Because imagine it's like, I did this skill, I have to put a little tally mark here. I have to get 100 tallies before I can do this. Like, that sounds annoying.
Well, Dead Phoenix, you still have to earn experience in like the general ways you would in a game, fighting difficult creatures, meeting story beats or anything like that. You can't just sit in a corner and just work on your lockpicking skill to upgrade it that way.
Yeah, there's probably be people at the table who would like make a joke about it the same way people in D&D make a joke of, let's just go like farm slimes for an hour.
Yeah,
like, I don't know if it actually happened.
The
DM would have to say yes to it.
And not only that, but the thing you do needs to be justifiable to the marshal, as they call it. And
just jump up and down for 8 hours.
Jump for 8 hours, level up your athletics. Yeah.
The Oblivion way.
I also don't like that idea of experience gain, because I feel like that also doesn't narratively accurately represent what a character would do to improve such skills. I like downtime level up stuffs. I think that's a very good way to do it. I also like having XP, but like two different XPs. You have your combat XP for, surviving battles, and you have your narrative XP for your skills and such that you level outside of combat by doing certain kind of objectives and such. Yeah. I think stuff like that is a good way moving forward for it. No, because if you don't challenge yourself, you won't get better at things, is the thing. Like, you can dismantle a lock 15 times, and you'll really know how to dismantle that lock very well. But if you come across another lock that works very differently, you're not going to have the same level of proficiency. A character getting ready for Olympic style sports event would be interesting. I mean, yeah, that like having actual like training being a part of your game. I made a Naruto tabletop game back in the Path called Path of Shinobi, and because it was mission based, there was a lot of time where the characters came back, and if they spent time training on certain things, they could improve that. And it was then you would get XP, but also how you spent your time training also affected your character growth. So you had to decide on what things you wanted to improve when you were training outside of combat during the downtime. And so it was like time management as well, which I felt worked really well for us at that time. Very much so, because it made sense. Your character worked on like improving their strength, so they had to work at it for this many weeks in a row, you know, that kind of stuff. In the end, it's nothing that bothers me enough to like stop playing games or to even really make me think about it all too much. I dislike how it's done, especially in 5e, because some of your level ups are just garbage, but you have to go through them to get to certain features that you want for a class. And in Pathfinder, it's the exact opposite. All your levels are really good, but that does mean that if you are leveling kind of fast for your games, your characters are just getting ridiculously powerful, and you've just kind of done like not all that much of note or worth, you know.
You're talking about this with 5e reminded me something I saw that made me very upset. It made me like actually a thing where I'm like, that is fucking annoying. Like I got a reaction out of it.
What?
So crazy. So an interview, I don't know if it's an older or newer one, with one of the lead 5e like core designers dropped, and they mentioned how they made use of something Magic does. The idea of a Timmy choice or a Timmy pick?
No.
So what that is in like games is a thing that on paper or like when you're looking at it sounds cool but isn't very good. Like sounds or looks cool, but is designed to not be good. It's not even like unintentional. It is designed to look interesting so people will buy it and then realize later it's not the best pick. 5e, he mentioned that they specifically wrote feats and like abilities in 5e and like spells that are Timmy picks. Stuff where it's like it's intentionally written to not be as cool as it could be. And I was immediately like, that is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Pathfinder doesn't do that. Or I don't know, at least it has much better things where it feels like a lot more feats are usable, but not like with designed to look cool but not be useful. He mentioned specifically how the 5e feats were like, where a lot of them just aren't good, and that they're intentionally to be like that.
Yeah, that sounds very bad, honestly.
I don't know why you designed a thing like here's a character option, and this option is bad. Did you like you want to fix that? No, we intentionally made it bad. I don't understand the thought process behind that. I don't understand why you would do that.
I don't know why my camera's out of focus.
Cameras do that. Yeah, it's I'm glad Pathfinder at least doesn't feel like it does that.
No, not at all.
No.
In fact, I mean, I would say that there are some feats here and there that are not super great. The one I did recently, which was the oh goodness, it was from Dark Archive. Was the Alter Ego. One of their feats is literally you can use small magic effects to replace a disguise kit.
That's fun. I don't know what that does, but that's like that. I don't think it's helpful.
Literally does nothing. It just allows you to disguise yourself. You can use the create disguise action without having a disguise kit. That's it.
I mean, I feel like if you're high enough level, like, yeah, hey DM, I paid for a disguise kit, but here's how I'm gonna flavor it. They'd be like, okay, cool.
Yeah,
that doesn't make sense. That's really funny.
Someone was trying to argue with me that it allows you to change size or do other things.
Can't save you like 10 gold.
Yeah, in a game,
go kill a goblin. Like,
in a game that's so notoriously like cost efficient for a lot of things, we literally have more money than we can spend in the Monday game currently.
That's true. And I don't know, Dagon. I think it's an interesting like idea, specifically because like Wizards of the Coast and Magic and D&D. The thing that specifically makes me lean more towards maybe it's the trading card idea, like leaning towards it, is specifically because the guy talking about it referenced the Timmy's Pick idea from Magic, which is how a lot of cards in Magic are designed, according to him. Where there are some cards that are like objectively good, and then cards that look cool, so people will buy them because they look cool, but they're not very good. Like if a card rule or like monster isn't that great, they'll just make the art really good. Like stuff like that. So there's maybe some influence.
Maybe. Though I definitely can see that in some other tabletop games as well. So I'm not sure. It's one of those things.
I like that idea.
I hope that's true. If only that were true. If anything, it's the other way around. But yeah, I think that's terrible design. First of all, I think that if you're going to make a choice in a game, it should be towards some end that can allow a player to fulfill some kind of fantasy, because that's the whole point. That's the whole point of you being there. Like, all feats, even if they're really dumb feats, should allow you to fulfill some fantasy. In fact, the Corpse Tender video that we just released today, literally the dedication itself allows you to make a request or to attempt to make an impression on undead creatures. Yeah. But it states in the feat, they're innately hostile to you, so you need to find some way to subdue them first before you can attempt to do this. And even when you can, you treat them like beasts, and they can only do like the simplest of requests.
It's like a feat that it feels like it's like here's a archetype that's funny, has some maybe good uses in the book it comes from, but like if you want to be a really good necromancer, there's better ways to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, because I'm sure he felt the same way. Mark is also a very like, he's a good designer. He knows how to make shit really, really well. And I'm sure he also gets bothered by Timmy picks, I guess.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things of but see, the thing is, right, I find that funny. I think that what it was intended for, because it tells you the Corpse Tender are people who tend to the various like farmlands of Geb, which is an undead country. Mm-hmm. And so just having a character who's like, oh yeah, no, I'm the cow whisperer, but I can only talk to undead cows, is funny.
Yeah, it's a funny archetype. It's not a meta pick, but it's fun and interesting.
It's fun and interesting, and it can be used. It can be used if you're ingenuitive enough and you're in the right setting. But a lot of other picks are so like super niche that you would never ever use it in most situations. So taking it with you is just taking nothing. Or a negative space, because it's taking up the space of something else that could help you.
Yeah.
Oh, Steven. I mean, he probably thinks a lot the same. Yeah. Yeah, it's Steven. But, yeah, it's just one of those things of, but that's the thing, right? Despite that, I can still justify existing in the Pathfinder game. If you had a very specific character or you're in a very specific style of campaign, I feel like it's something you could take, and it could be useful if you're ingenuitive enough. There are not many things that are really bad picks. I've come across a few as I've gone through some of the archetypes videos. I can't really think of them at this time, but I definitely have come across a few feats where I'm just like, this is not a good feat. It's not a really great feat. It honestly doesn't really do anything for you. But I don't feel like they're also like falsely advertising that they're worth something more than they are.
Mm-hmm.
They're just like not designed well. Like I said, like the alter ego one, where it's just like you can not have to buy a disguise kit. Which, like, cool, I guess. It is a skill feat, so you can't be that angry at it, but still, I don't know. But yeah, in general, I think level ups are just something that need to be more refined than they currently are. I think the current system is just honestly inherently lazy, because it's just your characters only grow either when the DM says so, or you get enough experience and then suddenly you're better at some things.
Yeah.
I also think Investigator does have a lot of feats that are kind of like hit or miss. But I like that I'm an Investigator because it gives me a reason to multi-class archetype more. So, you know, I don't think that's a bad thing. But yeah, there's a lot of feats in the Investigator for sure. But yeah, I don't know. It's just one of those things where something I also like. I also really like roguelites, and I like roguelikes, especially that have like a very fast level up mechanic, where you get a new thing like every room or every other room or something like that. Like, I enjoy very constant, consistent growth, but when the good roguelites make it so that everything feels very incremental, where your build eventually just grows out of control, but you had to get there first, and everything kind of led to it. Sometimes in tabletop, it's just like, I'm a paladin, and now I can smite again another time, or now I can smite even harder than I could before. Mm-hmm. And it's like, okay, cool. Why? It's like, I don't know, my god thinks I'm doing good, I guess. Or I've been smiting so much that I just got better at smiting. Which, I mean, I think that is a fair explanation, but that's definitely not the intent the character had going forward.
I know in 5e, there's one of them, the improved Divine Smite is literally, you've smited so much that, like, it's now just ingrained into your body.
Yeah. Which I don't think that's even a bad one, honestly. I think that one is a lot more justifiable than some other, like, sudden character changes.
Yeah.
Like, suddenly multi-classing and getting an animal companion out of nowhere. That's also another very jarring one, unless it's done right.
That's also a real interesting thing. It's like, oh, I suddenly got an animal friend. Where? Fuck if I know. Just showed up. Hell yeah.
You know, it's so funny. In Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous, one of the characters is a ranger that has a dog companion, and it's a little bit of a story beat, but it's just like, the big thing is like, I don't know, it just started following me one day. I don't know why it's here. It's not like I want him here necessarily, and it's really weird. It's like his class mechanic, right? So I don't know, it's really weird. But yeah, I mean, there's just a lot of ways that I feel like tabletop games can make leveling up better, or stat improvement better. Also, I think more games need more horizontal leveling progress.
That's very true. You need to be getting like more perks and like abilities and feats and stuff. I just getting a number increase is not good. You need more.
Yeah, get more abilities, get more ability to do different things, unlock things, you know. It's always one of my favorite things to give a player like suddenly a new thing or a new ability they didn't have before, just in the game randomly. because it makes it feel great. It makes it feel like whatever they just did was awesome and gave them something. And I feel like that feels more organic and players are more excited for that than leveling up, honestly.
People are usually more excited about new thing rather than, oh cool, my health went up and a stat bonus. All right, that's it. Damn.
Yeah. And I don't mind like stats like that kind of going up on the level up stuff that is very like, it's like getting more health just means your character is better at avoiding lethal blows or whatever, is something that I feel like is not anything you have to necessarily work at. It's just something inherently you get better at the more you go through combat or whatever. So like stuff like that is fine, but it's just like when you get whole new abilities that completely change how your character is played or looks or whatever on a level up, sometimes it's just very jarring in a game. And I take tabletop very seriously, and when I'm playing as a character, I'm like, okay, how would my character react to this situation in a way that I feel like is realistic for them? And I'm often left with like I have no idea how I'm going to justify this to my character, other than just being like, oh, that was weird. Moving on.
I feel like that's a realistic response for a lot of things too. Where you're just like, Anyways.
No, I'm sorry, Alex. Apathy doesn't work for everything.
That's weird. Y'all are weird. Y'all just need to learn to like not worry or care. I do respond to many very strange and bizarre situations in my life with, all right, guess that's a thing now, and then I just move on. So I am actually really curious. Like I doubt that this carries over, but I want to ask: does this carry over to video games for you? Do you feel the same way about like video game leveling as you do tabletop leveling?
No, not at all.
Oh, okay.
Purely for the sake of that's a game, and tabletop's a narrative game. Yeah. They're two very like you play them in very different ways.
Okay.
Like a game, like anything is justifiable. You know what I mean? Like it's a video game, and granted, there are some games where certain things can happen that I feel are very jarring for certain characters. Some kind of growth or some kind of changes, or you know, it's like the thing of like how you enjoy making your horrifying abominations for games and can get through the cutscenes just fine. I absolutely can't. It's just something that like it breaks my immersion too much to be looking at Mr. Assface while trying to get through a very serious cutscene.
See, I don't have that problem.
Yeah, you don't have that problem. But in video games, it's at least like the expectation is it's a video game, but a narrative game, the whole point is that you're telling a story that has game mechanics in it. But you still are telling a story. Like the core aspect of it is it's a narrative.
Yeah.
So things need to be justifiable by the narrative.
All right. Yeah, I just think that's interesting, because I guess it's again the difference of our perspectives on it. Because I also have I like tabletop. I think it's super fun. I take it seriously to the point because of that it's a enjoyable experience for everyone around. But in my head, it is a game that you tell a story in, and then a video game is just like a game that you play to tell a story or to experience a story. I don't know. Maybe that's the difference. I think I don't separate video games and tabletop that far in my head. It's just tabletop is a game I play with other people. So the seriousness I put into it is for etiquette of other people.
I don't know. It might also just be that you haven't been in a situation where you're trying to play faithfully to a character and you come across something that very much contradicts how your character should react to that situation.
I mean, that, or it's just a thing that I experience and I don't remember. Like, that might have happened, but it's a thing where I'm like, oh yeah, this is, yeah, because of course you would. You leveled up. It's a game, and then like that's there. I don't think to justify it in for my character. It's, oh, that's the thing. All right, I'm just gonna act like this is a thing now, because I just, it's not something I've drawn attention to or like noticed really. Because like a person, well, I mean, like sudden level up has never messed with my immersion, for example, like ever.
Well, I think for the most part it's relatively harmless, because it's like, oh, the wizard learned new spells. That's pretty easy to justify. They're sitting studying magic all the time, yada yada. You know, at the beginning of the day they're flipping through their book doing something. So like a lot of the time it's just like, look at this new skill I've learned how to do, and everyone's like, oh, that makes sense. You're using a sword skill and you use swords a lot. Yeah, it makes sense. It's the very few times where you are, where it's something that really just doesn't make sense whatsoever, that it is concerning. Like, say a character took the vampire archetype and now they're a vampire. It's just like, how did that happen? We were literally just doing a dungeon and now you're a vampire. Like, it's stuff like that always, I feel like, really makes it hard to justify. And I'm sure everyone else just kind of like does their best to just like hand wave it the best they can in character, but I feel like that is no less disruptive.
I feel like there's some where, and also like, yeah, we play in games, like I play in games where the DMs would be like, all right, we like, you can do this, but it's going to be a story reason, or it's going to be justified. But like, I mean, I've played in games where that's not considered, and I don't know, it's always the separation of, if they're like, because I'm always deep in character, like how did my character think in this moment, all that stuff. But then like when it comes up to like a gameplay thing, it's always a hand wave for me, because like, yeah, oh yeah, game, it's a game. Because like at the end of the day, it's like when you're trying to explain, the one I always think of is trying to explain spell slots in game. It's like, how the fuck do you describe a game mechanic in game? Like, it's that thing where it's like the separation of, there's sometimes where you just at the table like have to be like, you know, the game term, and it's like, yes, the game term, and you just have to like not think about it too hard, because then the whole thing will unravel.
Yeah.
And suddenly your characters are looking back up at you.
Spell slots are not the best mechanic, IMO. I think other games have done spells better.
Yeah,
personally,
it's the one I think of, because every game, like there's always like this little bit where it's like, can you cast more? And they're like, I don't have enough energy to do it.
Yeah.
Where it's like just scrambling for how the fuck do I say spell slot without saying spell slot?
Well, I remember one time at Adventure League, this guy was trying to like ask me if his character can just learn magic and cast magic, and it's just like, okay, how do I justify in the game that just learning the words and waving your hands isn't enough to cast spells?
That is true.
And to be fair, there are reasons in the game as to why. I mean, spell slots for magic casters are mental constructs that take time and effort to construct.
Mm-hmm.
And so they can't just on the fly cast spells at, you know, like willy-nilly. Even sorcerers who have like, you know, spontaneous spell casting, it's more of their magic is represented in this way, and they become exhausted, and they can't just, it's just not any spells. It's just what powers they have, you know. You can look at them more like mutants than like spellcasters a lot of the time.
Yeah. I guess also like Dead Phoenix, like the reason I always think of spell slots when it comes to it is like, it's always a term where I feel like there is a in-universe like justification and reason and like all of that, but I feel like most time players don't know it. So like every single table I've played at, or every player has like a different way of saying that they're out of spell slot. Like, yeah, that's why I think it's really interesting. It's the idea of having to justify a gameplay mechanic in universe, because in like I under the impression that sometimes there are gameplay mechanics that will come up in a roleplay thing that you kind of just have to hand wave, because it at the end of the day you are playing a game, and so some things are just gamey and like gamified because that's the nature of the beast, and because you're not actually living it.
I actually disagree. I think with good enough design, you can justify anything your character has, like, narratively speaking. You know what I mean? Like, spell slots are not a really great example. They have... It is explained in the lore, but the rules don't express that to the players as to why that's a thing. But I've definitely played in plenty of games that even with the weirdest shit the game throws at you, it's justifiable by the world and narrative that's created for the game.
It's true.
And
I guess it's also like the idea of there's certain game things where it's like, if we rest, we'll get all our health back. Or we like that kind of level stuff where it also teeters on the edge of the fix to have it be a realistic and justifiable in-universe thing is a fix I don't want to see, because it's teetering on let's make our game hyper realistic to like if we were actually in the world, and you know me and realism rules.
Well, yeah, that's true. Yeah. I mean, I agree to some degree, but not completely. I think like HP taking forever to come back is tedious and definitely gets in the way of enjoyment.
It's just annoying. It's just annoying to deal with.
It can definitely be expressed in the game rules in a different way that doesn't make it where it's like your character is injured, but it's more of a thing of like, oh yeah, they took some hits, but when if you get into another fight, they can still pretty much fight at like top form, you know, still nursing those old wounds. They didn't take like a severe injury that's like incapacitated them or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, they were stabbed in the stomach and they have stitches and they gotta be careful, but like they still have enough fighting, you know, like vitality to get through the next fight easily. And that's something that can easily be expressed.
Yeah,
but
it can be expressed. It's then there's the methods that I see that I'm like, no, realism, get away from me. No.
Well, yeah, I mean,
I don't want to see it.
I simultaneously agree. There are definitely ways that realism is inserted that is unfun and should not belong in a narrative game.
Yeah, most of them. Most, if not all. Carry weight is a bane of my existence. Hunting for food. I don't care what my character eats. That's tedious and annoying.
I agree. I agree
that's
with
the
both
problem.
those statements.
Most realism rules for games are just tedium, where it takes time away from doing shit you care about. Because it's just like, oh, we have to go and make sure you have enough food and your calorie intake is fine enough. It's like, this is just taking time. I can you like you're making me invest time in a thing that I could say, yeah, we hunted, and it's like, cool,
yeah,
same effect, but you're adding complication to it for no reason. That's the thing that's annoying. It's adding extra time and steps, and I don't know. It's avoiding that is the opinion where I hold that sometimes in games, there will just be gamey things that you just have to kind of hand wave and be like, yeah, whatever. We'll just kind of fast forward slide through that. I'll skip that dialogue option and continue on, because sometimes it'll have to come up.
I agree with that. I just disagree that it is something that can't be justifiable in the narrative. You know what I mean?
It can be. I guess it's the thing of I just don't see it as a problem, because I hold the idea that if a gamey thing comes up, I can hand wave it and it's not going to bother me, because it's like I don't know. Like, it's the thing of like I can understand like some major changes being like whoa, that's a little weird, but like for example the suddenly they're a large creature. Robot puberty. I'd be like, all right, hell yeah, that's funny. Like I would play it, I'd lean into it and then be like, yeah. But like, yeah, I do the one I completely agree with, and there's definitely other archetypes in a Pathfinder that do that, where I'd be like, okay, but you can't just like say you're this. You like give me at least a real reason, or wait a little bit before you do it.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing,
like,
right?
I'm a ghost now. Like, okay, well, wait.
It's just a thing of like, it happens, and it's not very like a lot of things I feel like are easy enough to hand wave, purely for the fact that it's like justifiable that a character who fights a lot gets better at fighting as the game progresses, or a spellcaster who uses a lot of spells learns new spells or invents new spells. Like a lot of that. Well, yes, but we're just using examples, Dead Phoenix. We're not saying these specific things are the only things we're basing it off of.
I think it'd be funny if a player tried to throw, like, we wake up from resting after level up and suddenly, like, hey guys, I'm a ghost. It's like, okay, wait, what? Now we have to understand the idea, like, our friend died. And, like, go through all that.
Well, yeah, the thing
or
is...
even just, like, suddenly...
What Dead Phoenix keeps mentioning is that a lot of these archetypes require that the character dies first in order to get it. Which,
they do have restrictions.
Yeah. That's not what we're talking about, though.
I'm only naming them because it's the wildest, like, it's the most extreme option I can think of. Where it's like, it is to the extreme degree of which I would take issue with. Because, like, those archetypes, like, you have to have that ready for your character. Like, you have to be from day one being like, this is my intention, and the party would understand it, and the DM would understand it. They're not archetypes you can just be like, vampire, which is the reason I bring them up as examples.
Yeah, it's
They're
just
good exaggeration.
I mean, and there's others like Beastmaster. You've been in a dungeon and suddenly you're like, oh yeah, this bear is my friend and I'm giving him commands now. It's just like, okay, interesting. When did this happen? It's like, oh, it just kind of happened. Like, I was just thinking, oh man, it'd be nice if I had a bear friend, and then a bear just came up and it was just like, oh man, you seem cool. You know, it's just like,
what's their name? Yeah, what's the bear's name though? Are they nice?
Smokey.
Hell yeah.
You know,
that doesn't sound copyrighted at all.
It doesn't sound
my favorite. It's my favorite part of that. It's not. It sounds so untrademarked.
True. But like, it's just one of those things where it's like, there are some things that characters pick up that are harder to justify, especially when it happens randomly. The whole automaton thing, right? Becoming a large the chassis thing, that could be easily done through just someone saying, well, I've been working on my chassis and like expanding it to make myself, you know, bulkier for the purpose of extending my reach and making me look more imposing. And so it's just like a downtime thing, or like, okay, I think it's now time to unveil this thing that I've been planning, where you've done a whole stuff beforehand to show that your character was working on something.
Yeah.
And like, it can be done. Again, all this can literally just be done by the GM or the player making it justifiable. That's not my complaint. My complaint is the system is inherently jarring. And as a DM, I will also say that sometimes you have a very narrative importance kind of arc that involves a lot more like character dialogue. Fighting really doesn't happen all that much, but it's a lot of like small fights here and there. You're doing a lot of things, but at the end of the arc, your players are ridiculously strong in the world that they find themselves in, despite really not doing anything to justify that power over the last arc that you just went through. You know, it's like in Anima, we had the Rosencrantz arc, which half the party anyway was not doing anything combat related.
Yeah.
It was subterfuge, they were talking to people, they were spying, they were sneaking into places, yada yada. But that arc was so big, and your characters were already pretty strong at that point anyway, that they went from like kind of strong to really strong at the end of that arc, and half the group anyway only had the final fight as the fight that they actually went through.
Yeah.
You know. And as GM, it's hard. It's hard to justify how your characters exist in a world without making it completely nonsensical. Like in D&D, it's actually easier to justify higher level characters sometimes because of how the dice system works. Because the bonuses sometimes, for some characters, they can be nuts. But like for most stuff, it's like a character who's like level 10 is not too statistically different than a character who's like level 3. You know what I mean? It's like a couple points here or there in a given role. But in Pathfinder, it's a different story. A level 1 character and a level 10 character are miles apart. So astronomically apart in scaling that they just, like, a level 1 character would stand absolutely zero chance against a level 10 character.
Yeah. Well, unless we're, like, really cool, like in Tuesday.
Yeah. You've still yet to do anything meaningful to this individual.
Yeah, but he's yet to do anything meaningful to me.
That's completely not true. He handles you like a small child.
Yeah, but I'm cool, though.
He's easily shown that he can easily overpower you and has no fear of you actually getting away.
But there's a chance I could.
There has been zero chance.
Yeah, there was. I could break down that door if I was good, and I tripped him with my vomit.
You're surprisingly accurate at vomiting.
Yeah.
Yeah, except even if you had broken out that door, he's significantly faster than you.
Yeah, but I bet there's like a cool window to like water I could jump out of.
Yeah, see.
There's
you have to keep inventing things. I think that proves my point.
I'm yes anding you, Cam, not inventing things.
No. If you are, you're doing the worst yes anding I've ever heard.
I could always go no, period, instead of yes and.
You know, that's true. You could just say, "Nuh-uh, I'm right," and not move from that point whatsoever.
You know,
something I would still expect from you at some point.
You know, I could still try that from Barnabas. You're just like, nah.
Yeah.
No, I'm not mutated. No, nope.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Fucking, I want to take over this land. It will flood in like a year. I want. And I want a suit. I'm gonna fucking kill this guy in the future. I swear to God. Like, I want to be the one to kill him.
We'll have to see. I got some fun stuff planned.
Yeah, I want to actually see this man afraid and shook.
Why? He's been nothing but courteous to you.
Yeah, he's fucking crazy. He's an insane man.
I'm not saying he's not.
He's the fucking Spider-Man villain who's like, whoa, with your genetic research and like alterations, you could like cure cancer. I don't want to cure cancer. I want to be a dinosaur.
Yeah. But relatable though, right?
No, it is, but I want to put the fear of God into him so fucking bad. I want that moment where he's like, I want to like have the confidence go away for like a second. I want it gone. I want that satisfaction.
You will never get that satisfaction.
I better.
Never.
When I'm high level and I can kill him.
Do you think that would shake Brambasty?
I want it to. Because I like when there is a villain in a story, I like the moments where they go, "Oh no."
Oh no.
I like the moments where they're just like, "Oh no," like worried.
God. We're very at odds today. Yo, Christopher. Hey, Pedro. What's up?
We do be disagreeing on things. It'd be crazy.
We do today, especially.
Yeah, and today's the day I cut ties with this channel. I just can't like keep going on agreeing. Disagree. I keep disagreeing with you.
Yo, Karuja.
Oh shit! Hey, what's up, everyone?
What's with the sun like bomb squad here?
very cool to see at the very least.
Everyone was playing Fortnite together, and it was like, oh man, Battle.net Gamers streaming, let's go.
Hell yeah. I mean, yeah, you're insulting me for not seeing Iron Giant. That's mean of you.
I totally did not.
Step 1 on the twit longer.
Step 1.
He got upset when I said I hadn't seen Treasure Planet. Step 2. It's a lot of that. It's a lot of that on the twit longer of why I'm leaving Battle.net Gamer. He wouldn't let me go nuh-uh to his final boss.
He's not even the final boss.
I'm gonna say he is. He's my final boss. He's the final boss to me, Cam. Yeah, you have this cool BBG, but fuck this alchemist guy though.
I thought you liked him.
I do really like him, but I like him as like a rival character. I think he's a really fun rival because there's too many moments where it's like so fucking close that like Adrian's about to get on top.
He really is.
That's what I want. I want the moment where I can actually like it's like an even fight. That's what I want so bad. Because I think it's really interesting that Adrian is significantly weaker than him, but is still like actually going somewhat toe to toe in these situations.
Kind of, but like not really.
It's only because of the luck of the dice. Like, don't get me wrong. I want it to be a point where it's an even fight, so I can fight this guy one-on-one and scare him.
And scare him.
I like it when the confident villain is like scared. I mean, that's the reason why Dr. What's-His-Face from the Princess and the Frog, I like that moment. He's so charismatic, and there's that final bit where he's like terrified for his life. I like that. Confident villains need the slapdown. We'll just
have to see.
Good. I'll kick his ass. Because also he wants to make me a super soldier where I can't go and do my dream of just sailing around and having fun. He's gonna ruin the fun. Yeah, but he's gonna make me like serve him.
Oh, he's gonna do experiments on you.
That's true. But what if he messes with my brain?
Well, I mean, maybe it's possible. But
I'll get a pull. This was the time you did catch, but then didn't catch Adrian Havelock, and then like jump out the window or something.
But the only thing he's ever said he was going to do is perform tests on you.
Yeah, and like that's not cool. I don't want that.
I mean, yeah, it's true. It's completely non-consensual.
Yeah, it's fucked up. It's mean. So I'm gonna kill him. How dare you?
Fucked up. It's mean. I'm gonna kill him. He's a bad man.
And I also should have picked the deadly mutagen, so I'm so angry about that.
I actually figured out that you actually would have died. The DC is 34 and not 30.
Oh,
not 29.
Oh, thank God I didn't.
Yeah.
Not anger revoked. I feel it wafting off of me now. I've been holding this ball of rage for a good few days. Even better reason then. I can't wait to be cooler and have no downsides. Because that'll happen, right?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I'll be super strong and have no downsides.
Yeah. You're just going to be like Captain America.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, Captain America.
I don't want to be like Captain America. I mean, he's just like a less interesting like Superman.
He's just a buff dude. That's all Captain America is.
That's all he is. He's just buff. There's more interesting, like of the nice buff dude characters, I think he's the most boring. And then like even Superman is like significantly better.
Well, yeah, also, because he's also got more powers.
Yeah, I mean, regardless of like powers, I mean like character-wise. Like, I mean, regardless, also the idea that Superman's boring is an idea that only comes from people who haven't read the comics. Hot take.
We did have this discussion also.
I strongly believe that Superman's a really good character. It's just people who don't know Superman.
Well, I think Superman has also been written very poorly as well.
That too. Don't get me wrong. He has his movie portrayals. Despite how much I love Henry Cavill, like I think he's an amazing actor.
I think he's a great actor. Seeing him as Geralt has been amazing.
Oh yeah, he's really good as Geralt. He's fucking phenomenal in the Mission Impossible Fallout. That movie's so good. And it's like ridiculous, like how good of a movie that movie is, for just being Mission Impossible 7. Like he's a great actor, and then he just did Superman, and it's like the writing was very good because the fuckface director who directed that movie can't write a good script to save his life. I'm not buying. No, because Superman's actually nice. The Ultramarines are a bunch of dickheads.
Also, the Ultramarines wish they were as cool as Superman.
Yeah, the Ultramarines are boring. Some of them are. Gilman's cool. That's about it.
Gilman is pretty cool.
Because Gilman is just Space Caesar with depression.
Kind of.
I mean,
Not
I'm
really.
not. I've read him. I've read his books. That's
Yeah.
really,
Do you know anything about Caesar?
yeah.
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 How are they similar?
I will say Gilliman can be just as sassy as Caesar. Like, you know the whole bit with Caesar of we'll sell him off for this much money, and he's like, that much? Really? I'm worth this much. Gilman would do that.
Fair.
Gilman would also do the haha guys, when we get to shore, I'm gonna crucify all of you. And they're like, funny joke, Gilman. Then he actually would. The only difference is that Gilliman gets captured. He'd be like, what the fuck? And then kill them with his bare hands. Because he's a Primarch.
That sounds like a very, very interesting situation there, Christopher.
Yeah. Yeah, no, he's, because Gilliman is like, the Ultramar system is just the Holy Roman Empire. Actually.
Yeah, okay, but Julius Caesar was full of debauchery and
Yvraine. Yeah. Saying Gilman don't fuck?
Yeah, actually.
Actually, no, he doesn't. You are correct, lore-wise. I can't entertain the joke. It's not lore accurate. Oh, the Space Marines canonically can't fuck.
They got so many improved organs, but they didn't improve one.
They didn't improve the most important. They also have 0 sex drive.
But yeah, no, Julius Caesar is a fascinating person to look into.
Alright, how about a better Roman Empire emperor, Nero?
So he went crazy is what you're telling me.
Oh yeah, you didn't read the book where he played the fiddle over the burning of Monarchia?
Did that happen?
No.
Okay.
He was there, but no.
I'm just not sure with some of the Warhammer books sometimes.
I'll say there is a lot of the parts of that joke that's accurate to the lore. He was there at Monarchia, and that's why the fucking word bearers despise the Ultramarines only because they were there when Monarchia was burned. They were standing next to the Emperor.
Yeah.
Because Gilman and Sanguinius were there. They're just like, damn, that's crazy. Damn, you're doing all this? Damn, that's crazy.
Yeah. But
yeah.
Well, we got about 10 minutes left before we end today. So if you have any builds you want to toss into the community builds, toss them in now. We'll bullshit for another 10 minutes, and then we'll get to work on that community spotlight video.
Yeah. Which then I'll just request we take a small break so I can I'll grab some good old tea and other stuff as I
starting to hurt.
Do it. I mean, it's just kind of ugh. Well, it's the problem of I was talking to like my girlfriend about this, and it's how they have the how it's the comparing between like, hey, did you see the houseplant versus outdoor plant meme? I fucking like love this. It's houseplant. Oh, is that the water? That's a tap water? Oh, I can't handle that. I'm gonna start wilting. Outdoor plant. Is that concrete? Hell yeah. Like for me, it's that, but it's is the air quality index slightly lower? Oh no. How am I gonna function? Like my throat would just fuck up at like the change in the air. I hate it. My throat's very sensitive, so it just kind of feels like shit.
Yeah,
and we're gonna be doing a lot of talking today.
You also get sick when someone coughs over an internet call, so you know.
Yeah, I do. I really fucking hope I don't wake up sick tomorrow. I'll be so upset.
Yeah, you know what? I guess that is interesting.
What if we streamed it?
We could. It's not going to be that interesting.
I doubt it, but it could be. I think I don't know, it could be interesting if people want to see it. Sound off in the chat if you want to see it. Send in your money if you send in donations if you want to see a stream.
Send in donations.
Can I get some gifted subs in the chat?
We don't got gifted subs, but we do have donos.
You can gift. Can you gift
YouTube.
joins? You can gift joins in YouTube, can't you?
I don't know. I don't think so.
I remember that's something we talked about. If you want to see us live stream it, donate us $100.
Oh my god. Oh my goodness. I mean, I'm sure a lot of it is kind of just a meme at this point.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I was watching the streamer, and it's just this thing of streamers being like, all right, if we get, 15 follows in the next 10 seconds, and they're just doing the
constant dono and sub baiting,
fear of missing out.
Oh yeah,
FOMO. Yeah, they keep FOMO baiting their audience,
mm-hmm.
and the thing is, it works.
It does.
You know what I mean? I mean, they got tens of thousands of people watching at a moment, and they're just sitting there, and all they're doing is just FOMO baiting. They're just like, oh yeah, I'm gonna pull, I'm gonna do a 10 poll if we get 5 gifted subs in the next 10 seconds.
It is super annoying. I do make fun of it for that reason.
Yeah, I mean, it's a joke, right? But just watching someone do it for hours on end, it's just so gross.
It do be gross.
And I get it, right? I get it. We're all playing the game. We're all trying to make a living for ourselves, but still, ugh.
Yeah.
Just ugh.
I mean, being an influencer and doing the influencer things for YouTube and Twitch, I fucking hate it. That's why I keep my intros and outros for my videos super fucking short because of it. I can't bear to do intro to outro shit.
I mean, that is very bare minimum.
Yeah, I do the bare minimum.
But I mean, just general, making sure you remind people to follow, subscribe, all that kind of stuff.
I do that one.
It is helpful. It does help. Genuinely helpful.
It's the thing that I'll always refute. I'll always be most adamant that I think it's stupid, though I objectively know it works because I do think it's stupid, and I think it's stupid that it works.
I don't even think it's stupid. It's just something that just people aren't thinking about.
In my head, it's stupid.
You're never wrong.
I guess it's the thing where I've never had a situation where someone asked me to like or subscribe where I've actively went and did it. It's never part of it. I'm always like, oh, they said the thing. I zone it out. Because I never acknowledge them ever.
Yeah,
that's the thing. It's super weird.
Not everyone is you.
I know that's the problem. Not everyone is me. Start being me.
But,
I also fucking despise. It's my biggest pet peeve of YouTube videos of the you click on a video essay and it's about a topic, and then for 5 minutes they're like, no, this topic. Here's the topic. The topic is this. It's yes, I can read the fucking title.
Yeah,
I can read. I understand.
People who have
annoys me so
5
much.
minutes of dialogue and try to stretch it out for 20 minutes is always the worst.
The intro of my last video was 30 seconds. It was, hello, this is me. This is my favorite faction. I'm talking about Custodes. And then that was it. Because I'm you can fucking read.
I try to get all my shit out in the first minute or two.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the videos, content. But
yeah, that's true. I also refuse to I guess I also have nothing to ever update my followers with, because I also will not do that. Because I mean, also, I will never ever speak about my personal life on that channel. I refuse. Weird. They don't need to know.
God, Alex.
They don't need to know anything about me.
Weird. It's just so cringy, Alex.
What is cringy about not wanting that? I'm right.
It's literally like something that you have no, like, you don't have to even worry about it right now, my guy.
But I am worrying about it, and I will.
Like
that's weird.
It's not even something that, even if you did, would even matter.
Yeah, but there's that one person that could.
No, I'm sorry, but
there's like one person that might. There's one person that might be like, I know who this person is. I don't like that. Or in the far off, the idea of a parasocial relationship actually terrifies me.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing. You don't even need to do that much to earn parasocial relationships. They just need to watch enough of your content to think they know you.
That's the thing I don't like.
Like, don't get me wrong. I definitely agree with separating life and work as something, but like, you ain't really telling much when you're just like, I was really sick yesterday, so I didn't do anything, but today I'm feeling better.
Still too much.
Yeah, no.
I still don't like it.
I'm sorry, Alex. This is cringe.
I don't think it's cringe. I think it's
super cringe.
I think this is absolutely like normal and justified.
Well, you can think it all you want.
Yeah, it's my like, it's like a TV show. I'm not gonna I that's how I view like making a thing. It's like I'm making an episode on TV, and it's not gonna be like, hello guys, I the director, I am now engaged. Wow. Anyways, here's the episode. I'll never do that. But also, if they know I'm sick, they'll know they could pinpoint the disease I got and where it came from and, like, the hospital I went to, you know? That's totally normal thinking, not paranoia at all. If I show my window, they'll triangulate my exact location, Cam. That one you can't say is wrong.
That one is... Well, again, I will say it's still cringe because you're nowhere near big enough big enough to even have that be a concern.
No.
But two... That is a legitimate concern. Doxing is not anything that needs to be taken lightly. But the whole, like, being... It's like someone who's just so obsessed about being, like, a particular style of YouTuber. It's just cringe.
I don't know. I don't think it's cringe.
It's just cringe.
I don't see the cringe in it. Maybe you need to embrace what's that fucking Master Oogway quote that's really good. Don't embrace don't what is it? It's a fucking embrace the part of you that's cringe, kill the part of you that does cringe.
Yeah.
You just need to go through the where's the meme? Where is it?
He had it in the
kill the part of you that cringes. That's it.
Yeah.
Also, Devin will know exactly where I live and who I am personally. It's crazy. I can't let him do that.
We already know. You've literally given us your address.
No.
Like, I don't know what to say, man. You've already failed at the one thing you wanted to do.
Yeah. I still also think that the I will not spoil at all, like for the fucking off chance that we both get very popular and like I can pull this off. I think my idea, if I ever have to go on a hiatus, and like how I'd announce my return, is fucking hilarious.
Yeah, I mean,
I still think it's a fire idea.
There's definitely a difference between doing something because you think it's entertaining and doing something because you're just being like, no, if I'm sick, no one needs to know. Like, yeah, that's cringe.
I'm not
saying that people need to know everything about your personal life. but being super adamant about not having anyone know anything about your personal life is super cringe.
No one needs to know ever.
All right. Well, that's going to be it. So what are we doing now? Are we going to try doing this live, or are we going to... Well, the hard part is...
I thought we were going to do it live. That was the question.
Well, the hard part is, like, we're going to need to do some face cam for it.
Yeah, I assumed I'm going to have it. I mean, I can... I'll just have to take a break. Because also, I got to get my room slightly more in order. If it's going to appear on camera.
Yeah. All right. So what's your choice then?
I don't know, chat. What do you think? Sound off in the chat real quick if you want to see this streamed, because that'll be my decision. I think if it's for entertainment and people actually would want to see this, then that's hype. If not, then whatever. That's one vote for yes.
That's one vote for yes. Can't tell y'all right now, it ain't gonna be exciting.
It's already blocked, don't worry.
Ours is always blocked.
Mine's boarded up. Just got blackout curtains my day one, like the first day I moved in.
I mean, yeah, same.
Yeah, because like of where my room is. Yeah, where my room is, like the sun directly rises and like it goes right into my face. Like if I go to sleep with it open.
Well, we got a lot of people saying to stream it.
Yeah. So let's stream it.
Alrighty, well, I guess we'll go ahead and get that underway then.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead and take your break then.
Alright. Back in a few.
No. Alright. I need to... Now, how am I going to rip control away from... Oh, goodness. Alright, this is going to be harder. Oh, I'm going to turn that off. I guess... Okay. Let me pop up. Alright. It's going to be not super exciting for the moments. Can I... Yes. That's... Okay. Well, that's fine. I did not intend to share this yet. That's cool. Alright, I guess I'll be right back myself. I guess we're done. Thank you all so much for being here, for those who have decided to be here. And, well, we're going to be moving into recording a video. So, we're pretty much done here. If y'all want to stick around, feel free to do so. We're going to be making a video. Yeah, that's... Can I record at the same time? Oh, God, there's so many logistic things here. I mean, I guess technically I can just swipe it from the stream if I absolutely have to. But yeah. So anyway, thank you all so much for being here. We really appreciate having y'all here and stopping by. And yeah, hopefully we can bring you some interesting content. I'll be right back. All right. Oh, Nope. No, I got an answer. I'll use my phone Discord. Ha ha ha. I need to pick 3 builds. Oh, so many builds.
There really are, just like a whole lot. Just fiddling around with one thing. Trying to fix one of the issues my room has.
No worries. No stress.
Alrighty. Cool. Quick other thing I'm gonna mess with. Gotta figure out my lighting. Cause, let me see. Right now, this lighting doesn't look that great. What if I work? What if, like, imagine I can go the red light. And then I'll just... He has a face, write it down.
Yeah, actually, between the two of us, Ox is the only one who has really full body representation on the internet.
Yeah.
The only time
The
you ever
green
see my whole
screens.
body is when I get up while streaming.
I do prefer the edited format to live stream, but I mean, I'll do it. Done it before.
Sorry, what I was reading.
I was just saying, like, I prefer edited, like, content stuff, like, doing that, like, making that with like, myself on camera. But, like, I'll do streams. Still more comfortable having it, having be edited. But, you know, this will be an edited thing, and, like, at some point.
I mean, this one's gonna be edited. What is that in the background?
And I already know which classes I'm picking, or which build I'm picking. So.
Oh, definitely not. Oh, it's the chat box. Okay, chat box is gone.
Think. This is also going to be the first time I have shown up on tabletop. This is crazy.
Oh, well, I mean, kind of. This
Have I
is technically table talk.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah. Oh, no. The only other time I did it was when we did it at your place.
Oh, that's
like,
true.
That Lancer one. Like, I was there.
Okay. Alright. I think I have mine.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. All right. There were a lot of good builds.
Oh, a lot of them.
A lot of really,
do you
really
wanna-
good builds.
You would thinking to change the stream title at all?
The what?
The stream title?
I mean, I can. It'll be a bit of a hassle.
Just to be like, whoa, new thing.
What should I call it?
Community build review. You wouldn't believe what builds people made. Pathfinder, I hardly know her. That those all could work.
Just dialing up the cringe today, aren't you?
I'm not cringe or based. Everything I've said has been based.
I can change it on Twitch.
That's fair. Then you don't really need to though. And
Okay.
I will at the very least always make an announcement that we're talking about it during stream.
Sure.
I'll do that real quick then. There we go. Good old announcement was made.
Oh, good. I can remove that notification using my phone. That's great. All right. So, my idea for the makeup of the video is standard intro, you know, and then followed up with we're each going to take turns bringing up like a build we like, giving some keynotes and why we really like it. And if we can do each one in like less than 5 minutes, it could probably go longer, but if we do each one in like less than 5 minutes, that would be pretty good.
Should be good.
I recommend pulling up Archive and Nethys.
I have it up right now. For the first build I'll do, I was gonna find a bunch of the feats and make sure they're open. Because it's a build that I like. They're all like all of the stuff on it. It's like I know what they can do. It's just making sure I get it right. You know.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And then I don't know. I don't know how you normally record, but I try to speak in like points so that I can then space after a point to think about what I'm going to talk about next or do next. Just makes it easier for editing.
That's fair. I always I kind of just like talk, and if I notice partway, I sometimes notice partway through, I'm like, it's a stumble. I usually just restart it. I don't know. It's a thing that's I don't know how I describe how I do it. It's very like I will say it's more editing intensive than your style, 100%. Because I purposefully how I talk and like how I present it is very like you're gonna have to cut around some parts.
Yeah,
That's because I'm very editing I like editing.
My only request is just if you're going to restart anything, just like stop and be like, give it like a second or two pause so that at least in the waveform I can see like where a pause is, because then I'll be like, okay, there's something here.
Yeah.
There's a break that I can go through. I also have to turn off Fredboat.
I can do that. I will do my best to keep that in mind.
I'll just do
Might
this.
stumble once or twice, but I'll do my best to keep it in my head.
Oh no, I don't want to do that. Yeah, just end Fredboat. Oh, I could disconnect. There you go. Fredboat has been booted.
Oh no, Fredboat died.
And I had to readjust the scene because we changed our orientation. Which will mean that we won't have any accompanying music to this, so I apologize to everyone. Alright. Because if I don't do any of this stuff, it will just cause headaches for me in the future. I mean, I could technically use it. It's all royalty-free music. But, I don't know. I don't know if it would be the right vibe. I could find the list. Ugh, that sounds like a lot of work. I normally don't have music in my videos, and I feel like they do just fine.
I also do the same thing. I don't put any music in my my videos either. Maybe I should, but I don't know. It's not something I've thought about.
There's plenty of channels that don't.
It's one of those things where I feel like there's just as many ones that do that don't, that I don't feel like it matters too much.
I agree. I was thinking about that with thumbnails, actually. Like, I see some such dog thumbnails, and I'm like, thumbnails, I guess, really just don't matter all that much. Everyone says they do, but, like, there's tons of really big channels that just don't give a damn.
To some extent, I feel like they do, but I think it's the idea, too, that's important, is that YouTube content is such, like, bottom of the barrel, like, quality, that, like, the line for, or the expectation of quality doesn't exist. So if you just do it, you're already better than, like, the 90%.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, just do it and just consistently put out content. That's all you really need to do to succeed on YouTube.
Yep.
And also try on your content, because there's also people who absolutely don't try. Oh, all right. Now the big test. See if I can actually record while streaming on, on OBS.
That's a good question, Nick. Don't want to have to download the entire VOD?
I mean, yeah, that's all. Well, actually, I don't have to do that. I can just screen capture watching the video on YouTube and then just
that too.
Do it that way.
Yeah, that works just fine.
The things you learn when you do YouTube, you're just like, oh man, I've been doing this the hard way all this time. Anyway, it is recording, so
cool. Clapping's fun.
I'm audio syncing.
I'm just clapping.
Yeah. Asshole. That's okay. Honestly, I don't normally really have to audio sync all that much.
Yeah, I mean, from at least the stuff you sent me, I assume you're recording in two separate like things, like they're recorded separately. Because I
No.
100% have to clap sync because I record 2 separate audio and video channels.
Yeah, no, I don't. Everything just comes off of Streamlabs.
At the very least, it's a good way to be like, the thing is starting now, and you clap real loud.
Yeah, well, it also helps if there is an issue.
True.
That's the thing you gotta save yourself from.
Always true.
But, all right. Welcome back, everyone. I'm the Bad Luck Gamer, and today we have a slightly more unique video, as I'll actually be joined here by my co-host and collaborator for a lot of things on this channel, Glue Boy, or Alex, however you want to refer to him as.
Hello.
Hi.
That is me.
That is you.
I am, in fact, Glue Boy.
Yeah. You've gotten into the YouTube stuff now recently. How's that been going?
It's been a fun little journey, a fun little time. If you like Warhammer, go to my channel, go check it out. I talk about Warhammer. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. And honestly, it makes a lot of sense. We have a lot of Warhammer chat in our Discord, actually.
Something I'm delighted by, like, so much.
Yeah, if you want to check,
I'm always ready to talk about Warhammer, like, at any moment.
if you want to check out Alex's content, by the way, you can actually get there. If you go to my YouTube page, it's at the bottom under the, I think it's collaborators or something. I put it under. It's at the bottom. You'll see a picture of a smiling Virgil, and that's Glue Boy. So if you want to check that out, I highly recommend it. Alex definitely has made Warhammer more interesting than like 90% of other Warhammer channels so far.
That's something I'm certainly hoping to do, because like I love Warhammer content on YouTube, but guys, please do something more than talk over a slideshow. For the love of God, please. It's like something a little cooler.
It's fair. I mean, that's what I did for Pathfinder, you know. I really want to make Pathfinder a lot more palatable to people, and I think we've done well with that.
Yeah.
But today we're going to be looking into our community builds, where we had like a 2-week community build where people could come in, throw in whatever builds they thought were interesting or that they wanted to share with us, and we're going to show them off here. We'll probably end up doing more community builds in the future. I definitely would love to. And we might have some special themed one. I don't know. We are looking to do more themed content on the channel as time progresses, as our Discord is growing. Our Discord is now over 100 people, which is crazy. And we've been getting, tons of new subscribers all the time. So, I mean, the stuff that we got in the future is going to be really, really exciting. Plus some of the projects that Alex and I have cooking up underneath in the secret meth lab in the back room. It's going to be great.
In our little RV, we drive out to the middle of nowhere and cook up video ideas so no one can steal them.
Exactly. Back in the forest areas. I know a haunted radio station that we go to.
Dude,
yeah, I do.
Regardless of like video, I want to go there now, dude. Can you take me to this place?
That's for another video. That's an interesting story of back when I used to do insurance photo taking for companies. But yeah, I've told you about it before. I'm pretty sure.
Have you? I don't think you have.
Yeah, I have.
I don't think you've told me. I don't think you've told me stories from when you were working insurance. You have not told me about a haunted radio station, because I would have immediately figured everything out about this place.
It's not a radio station per se, but they had like a big radio dish. It's the one I was talking about with the lawn chair inside the place that looked like someone was sitting in it.
Okay, that part I vaguely remember.
Yeah,
we were talking about like anything haunted associated that we've seen. That was like a good 2 years ago or something.
Well,
it was a good
anyway,
while ago. Yeah.
Another video. But today we're gonna be looking at these new community vids. If y'all like this kind of content where we kind of show off what our community is doing and some stuff that other people have done in the the Pathfinder 2E space, let us know. Leave a like, or if you want to see more content like this, you can subscribe. It always helps out the channel. Check out the Discord, as we mentioned before. Talk all things tabletop, including war games like Warhammer 40k, as well as whenever I recruit for any of like the monthly look into games or anything like that, I always recruit there first. So if you want the chance to play with me and my friends, it's the place to be. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and look into some of the builds, and I guess I'll start us off.
'Tis your channel.
'Tis my channel, that is true. And this is a build that I've thoroughly enjoyed, partially in person. Well, not partially, but in person as well. This is a build by Best OTP, who is a good friend of mine in real life, and he made the Intelligent Fighter, which probably could use a slightly more intriguing name, but yeah. So the build, more or less, and it'll be showing up on screen here, is predominantly a fighter that kind of multi-classes into Bard and Lore Master a bit, and the whole thing is he's really good at recall knowledge. Just during the fight, he's able to making faces over there.
I don't like that. I don't like that action.
Yeah, he doesn't like big wrinkly brain actions.
I don't like thinking.
But it's really great because not only does he have a lot of options, he has the Bardic lore, and he has Lore Master lore, which allows you to pretty much use a lore check for anything, which does give you a reduced DC essentially to hit for doing so. But he also uses a reach weapon, and it's all designed around the ability to keep enemies at bay. He actually the stat allocation here is strength, dex, intelligence, and wisdom. And I know for a fact he also didn't put anything into con. So
interesting.
He's been a very squishy fighter. This is a fighter build. And he takes combat assessment. It's a really good ability. It allows you to strike and make a recall knowledge if the strike is successful. It's good value ability to get some efficiency out of your recall knowledge checks. Exacting strike is also really good, especially for a fighter, because it has the press action, so you have to have a multi-attack penalty to use it. But when you use it on your second strike, if you miss, your multi-attack penalty does not go up. So you can make another strike at that -5, which is really good, especially for a fighter, especially. He took the ancestral, or the ancient elf ancestry. So he could take ancestral longevity to pick up the Bard dedication at level 1. So at level 1, he gets the Bard dedication as well as his fighter abilities and a first level feat as well. It's really good front loaded. And Ancient Elf's really solid for that in general. And a lot of the feats were pretty much orientated around picking up like languages. He picks up Ancestral Paragon to pick up Forlorn, which makes him, I think, resistant to mental effects that affect emotion. And that was for roleplay reasons. I don't remember what Expert Longevity is, or Universal Longevity. I have to look into those. But as far as class features are concerned, and to be fair, this build is also using the free archetype rule set. So during this time, he's also taking Lore Master feats in addition. And, I guess he didn't put the... Oh, yeah, free archetype options. He was taking the Lore Master while using this build. And Staff Acrobat. Staff Acrobat is actually kind of nutty. The ability to trip multiple enemies is really good. And it worked really well, especially because the fighting style was completely based around the Fauchard and reach weapons in general.
Do like the Fauchard. It's very fun. It's got a lot of really good tags on it. that make it like a really fun polearm pick if you're fighting with a polearm.
Yeah, and the trip is really good. Trip is a really good trait in general. It's why he actually took Advantageous Assault at level 6. Allows you to deal... Advantageous Assault is another really good feat because not only does it allow you to add some extra damage while striking a target that is currently prone, but if you miss, you still do some damage to that target. So there's just a lot of features in this build that prevent you from really losing anything on a missed hit, which is really good. Disorientating Open. I'll actually look this one up because it sounds important.
Disorienting your enemy sounds pretty important.
Let's see here. Disorienting Open allows you to, when you hit a creature as a part of an attack of opportunity, it becomes flat-footed until the start of your next turn. That's pretty good. Making enemy flat-footed. And honestly, it hasn't come up a lot. But that's a really good feat in general, honestly. It makes an enemy more difficult to hit. And a lot of other things. It also uses the swipe feature with combat flexibility. So with the fighter gets extra feats because of course they do. Swipe's a really good one. It allows you to strike multiple enemies as long as they're adjacent to each other. And because the Faustro, I think, also has the swoop trait, you get a bonus to hit with both of those. So yeah, it makes a fighter strike even more accurately if enemies are standing next to each other. Nuts. A lot of really good skill feats. Dubious Knowledge, of course, so that even if you fail a check, you learn one erroneous piece of information and one true piece of information. Cognitive Crossover is another one where if you fail one, you can use a reaction to make another recall knowledge check instead. Really, really good. Titan Wrestler to sweep even bigger enemies. During this, he also ended up taking the Archer dedication, which is broken on fighters because it gives you a second weapon at your highest weapon proficiency. So at level 13, he's legendary in 2 types of weapons. It's nuts.
Shit, okay.
That's fighters. All right. That's fighters in general. Let's see here. A lot of the other stuff is more kind of just based on good fighter feats kind of in the later level. Combat Bard's combat reading. What's combat reading? Oh, combat reading is really cool. So, essentially, as an action on your turn, the GM will roll a secret occultism check. I never use secret checks. I just let the players roll them. Against the deception or stealth DC, whichever is higher for an enemy who's engaged in combat and isn't concealed, hidden, or undetected by you. Then, no matter what the result is, they become immune for a day. If you get a critical success, the GM tells you 2 pieces of the following information: their highest weakness, what the enemy's saving throws has the lowest modifier, one immunity the enemy has, or which enemy's resistance is higher. In an event of a tie, the GM should pick one at random. On a success, you get one of those bits of information, and on a critical failure, you get a false bit of information. So that's a really good one because when you recall knowledge on an enemy, it's not guaranteed that you're going to get anything stat-wise. They might be better known for some of their combat features, for instance. Maybe one of their skill checks, depending on if they're like a stealthy enemy, for instance. This is a really good way to get some pure combat data from an enemy. And it uses your occultism, so if you have a really good occultism, it's very solid to do. It's overall, it's a fighter that's cautious, keeps enemies at distance, trips them if they get a little too close, and it just shows a very intelligent, wise fighter that's able to still do the damage of a fighter. Like, all this, and he still hits really hard. He still gets most damage a lot of the time, just inherently, just because of being a fighter, and also he's just been dumping in his strength anyway. So his accuracy is about as high as it can get. And yeah, and then he uses the Cunning Rune, so that as a free action when he strikes an enemy, he can make another recall knowledge. So you can actually do like 2 recall knowledges with a single strike, which is nuts. So,
like, as much as I give him like shit for recall knowledge, like, I've heard nothing but amazing things out of the outcome of this build. Like, it's very effective, and hearing all the feats like that makes it out like, yeah, this obviously is very effective. Like, there's a lot of cool stuff this build can do. Especially, like, yeah, 2 legendary weapon proficiencies, huh? Like,
yep.
Dang. Real
That's
good.
fire.
Yeah. Fighters are good at fighting.
That's what they're known for. But see, that's what this build does, is it makes it a fighter super handy in a lot of other situations as well.
Yeah.
And whenever we need a recall knowledge outside of combat, he's got Bardic Lore, he's got Lore Master Lore, like staff acrobat, again, as we mentioned before, really good, allowing you to sweep multiple enemies that are within your reach, which you're using a reach weapon, and it works with pole arms. So there's a lot of really good weapon choices that can go with it. An archer is just so he can do good damage with a ranged weapon if an enemy might be a little bit too dangerous. But you're essentially dealing with a fighter that's reading everything about you. And our DM on several occasions has just gotten so frustrated they had to just give him the whole character sheet because he just kept critting all the recall knowledge checks. And so she's just like, here, you know what? Fine. You have the whole character sheet. You know everything. So I mean, it's a really good aesthetic as well. It's just a character that is fighting you, is very cautious, but is analyzing you down and beating you through superior skill. It's just a really solid build overall.
Oh, yeah.
All right, and I guess you can review yours and start yours up when you're ready.
All right. Good old get a drink of water first. I have mine ready in the feats if I need to look at all of them. Hold up. Alrighty. So for the first one I'm going to talk about, I'm going to talk about the build by Croconaw Superiority, the Weed God. Now,
the Weed God, yeah, this is your first pick, yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder why.
Well, I mean, regardless of, like, haha, funny weed, I do think that, like, the build itself is really fun, because it does make use of my new favorite class, and, honestly, one of the better, like, conscious and subconscious minds. I really like the aesthetic. Regardless of, like, just, so blazed reality starts to bend to your hallucinations and you're able to just think things into existence. I do think this is it's just good fun. So this is using the psychic class and also using for conscious mind, the infinite eye, which gives a lot of just knowledge abilities and just psychic understanding. As in, you are just like supernaturally having an expanded observational skill, giving you a lot of some fun little spells like augury, organ sight, clairvoyance, a bunch of stuff like that. And for the subconscious mind, the wandering reverie.
That's a really good one.
It is pretty cool. Which I really like the action Fade into Daydreams, where you just fade into like the just this imagination realm kind of deal, where you just are hard to look at and kind of concealed just from enemies. I think it's a super cool like subconscious mind. Of the ones I've read through, it's the Wandering Reverie is definitely one of my favorites. Then other than that, I think a lot of things the build does is the idea of you put your mind to something and you will like do better with it or succeed. Like for the ancestry feats, stuff like Know Oneself, like Clever Improviser, I think is another really good feat for this. I think it's a really fun feat, just in general. But same with like Sense Allies or Bounce Back, or even like Heroic Presence. All of those have the similar vibe of you put your mind to an action and you're going to carry it out. Like you put your mind to surviving from death, you're going to. As well, some of the skill feats are kind of feel like they have some of the same things, as well as having a bunch of face skills, as this character is built to be a face with a lot of stuff of like Double Speak, Entourage, Shameless Request, Hobnobber, stuff like that helps increase your facing abilities. And for the class feats itself, you get some fun stuff. I think Mental Buffer is a good idea. That almost pure strength of mind to protect yourself from any sort of psychic or mental damage. Thought Form Summoning is a really fun one. You just create a creature in your mind and it becomes real. Either like you just summon some sort of like creature, almost like a. It does read like it is just a weaker, I think, summon spell, if that's correct.
So yeah, Thought Form Summoning's really cool because you do make a slightly weaker summon, but it's incorporeal, so it can move through enemy squares.
Mm-hmm. Then also stuff like Sixth Sense, helping you also expand your skills of observation, working off of your conscious mind abilities. Remove Presence is a really fun one. So I will say too, some of these feats I didn't know existed until reading through this build, and I have new feats that I kind of want to pick for it when I play a psychic. Remove Presence is you reach into the mind of a creature and just remove the traces of you from it, making you undetected to the creature for like a minute. It's like you're invisible, but like the effects of like see invisibility, you're immune to that. Because you're not invisible, you're removing your presence from from like a person. It's super cool. Then another fun one is like Dream Guys, the Wandering Reverie, like one of their special feats, which you can stride into an ally space and both your appearance shift into a shared third appearance, just to like mentally fuck with your enemies a bit. They can try to see if that's an illusion, but it sounds like a fun way to make like an interesting disguise. The way I picture using it is like, we have to sneak into this area. We need both of our skills. Let's just become one person for a little bit and sneak through this enemy camp or whatever. It's like, I'm really good at like lock picking and sneaking. You're really good at talking if we need it. Like that's how I imagine using it. And that's a really fun feat. You have your fun damage, like a Psi Catastrophe. Just, blasting people in a 20-foot emanation with some good old bludgeoning damage. Another one that's just, I think, a cool name, Shatter Space. The sheer power of your magic fractures reality. It does do amp. Granted, I do need to look into what amp does. Do you remember what amp does for psychic?
Yes, amps are their unique kind of focus spells, more or less. In this case, any of their cantrips that they get from their features, they can change the amp that feature has and replace it with this amp instead. And they just have to use a psychic point to amp up one of their cantrips.
So what this one does specifically is it gives like splash damage for a lot of your cantrips, but it has to be a cantrip that takes 2 or more actions to cast, so no single action casts. Another one, this is a pure bias reference because I played a psychic who did this in a different game. Constant Levitation. As like, you can manipulate reality and stuff. Why walk? Why in the world would you want to like walk around like a regular person, not fly everywhere? I had a psychic in Anima that did that, and I was very happy to do that. Also, my absolute favorite feat, like actually one of my favorite feats, all in your head. You're under the effect of something, like an actual physical effect, like flame scouring at your body, venom coursing through your veins. No, it doesn't exist. Not real. Giving you, you can do a will save against the triggering effect, rather than a reflex or fortitude. You know, using a higher save value, but also the aesthetic of it, just like, no, I don't really think I'm on fire right now, as you're currently engulfed in flame. That is a hilarious feat. I love that so much. And then the other one, Become Thought for your final class feat. Shed your material form, becoming a being of true thought. That is, like, so cool. Resistance 10 to physical damage. You can fully change your appearance on a whim. Is Concentrate, but, you know, instant fun disguises. Once per year, when you die, you automatically return to life the next day as long as one living sentient creature on your plane remembers you. That is absolutely goofy. I love this. I think it's the thing I really like about this this build is it's a lot of feats that I think are equally really funny, which appeals to me. I like feats that are just kind of goofy in general and abilities that are kind of funny, but also like really cool. I think you could teeter on both ends of it really well, of a goofier, like funny character, you know, with like the Weed God like title, or you are a person of just maximum IQ, transcended all normal thoughts and reality. I think it's dope. And it's one of the reasons I think Psychic is easily one of my favorite. Like, I can do just shit like this.
You really need to play a Psychic at some point.
I really do. I'm going to 100% at some point. It's going to be my favorite.
It's actually the secret. We're actually doing these community builds to get good character ideas for when we actually get to play some of these classes.
I mean, I will say there's the class I'm going to talk about later is a build I like a character idea I had a long time ago for 5e, but now is like reading through it so possible to do in like Pathfinder. I'm realizing like stupid possible.
That's the great thing about Pathfinder. There's just so many possibilities. You can just get some really crazy builds.
Yeah. But there you go. There's my spiel.
All right, let me pull up my next one here.
Yeah. Also, I do find it very funny that we, like Devin pointed out, back-to-back brothers build.
Yeah. Where is this one, man? We get so many builds.
We really did. What build were you gonna do? If you want to spoil.
The next one is the support ranger, Outwit Ranger build that was done by Dead Phoenix, I want to say.
Dead Phoenix did
Dagon did.
Yeah, Dead Phoenix did the Dark Angel one, which I really do like, despite it being a champion build.
You need to play some Pathfinder, Colton.
You do.
It's really good.
It's so fun, man. Gotta change your mains, dude. I understand playing 5e, but like, dude, Pathfinder, something different.
I mean, just saying, 5e's kind of mid.
It's like...
The cool kids play Pathfinder.
It's fun and all, but like, you can do all this funny, dumb shit.
You can
I
do
am.
everything you can do in D&D, only better.
It's like the way I always see it is Pathfinder's the game where it's like I've been flavoring this thing like this way in 5e. Are you telling me there's an actual rule that lets me do the thing I've just been role playing it as? Or like there's a feat exactly with the aesthetic that I've been like playing my character as? He really can just make like an absurd amount of like unique characters with the system. Can't do that as much in 5e, sadly.
I would say there's very little rules for Pathfinder 2e. But they definitely give you a lot of options.
A lot of options. I feel like other games would have an absurd amount of rules for like this amount of character complexity compared to what could have happened if the core designers at Paizo weren't very good at what they do.
Yeah, Wrestler does get a suplex. It's great.
Wrestler archetype's pretty sick.
All right, I'm ready.
All right.
All right, so the next build we got is for me is the Bounty Hunter support build by Dagon Righteous. I absolutely love Outwit Ranger, and I feel it's so underplayed. To be fair, Flurry and Precision are kind of broken because they're just so good in combat. But I mean, what Dagon said here was, I wanted to show that the Outwit Ranger could hang out with the other Rangers and do well. And I think that's 100% like a thing. That's what I think. Because Outwit Ranger is so good. What it doesn't offer in like pure combat ability, it offers with just a lot more utility it can add. And this whole build is completely dedicated towards making a really good support ranger that can really do pretty much anything. Whether you need them to do melee combat, range combat, all together, it's just really good. And 4 of the, I think, 11 feats are flexible and can be swapped as you need them based on what you desire. This also uses a free archetype as one of its core functions, going into Gunslinger and Drow Shootist, so that you're a ranger and you got guns, which, I mean, how can you possibly go wrong with that? It's really good. But looking into the build, so this has a high build on Dex. It's a ranged build, pretty, not exclusively, but pretty much focused on range only. Charisma for those good social skills. Wisdom for the high perception and really capitalizing on the fact that Ranger is one of the few classes that can get to legendary in perception. And con, because, you know, everyone needs a little bit of con, so you need to invest a little bit. And also another thing that I really, really like, they use Intimidation, Stealth, and Nature for their key skills for the build. Intimidation for a good Demoralize. It's a good support ability. Frightened is probably one of the best conditions in the game. Followed up with Stealth as a good option for scouting, and because you're really good at tracking, you can keep people really in tow. So looking at some of the feats that they have here, this one definitely is going into the Monster Hunter kind of aesthetic. So picking up Monster Hunter and then Monster Warden at 2nd level, it allows you to, let me pull up the class here. Monster Hunter allows you to, when you hunt prey, you can recall knowledge about your prey, and when you critically succeed on identifying your hunted prey with a recall knowledge, you know a weakness in its defenses. You get a +1 circumstance bonus to your next attack roll against that creature, and you can give bonuses from Monster Hunter only once per day, or you can only get these bonuses for Monster Hunter only once per day against a particular creature. So you can only get that circumstance bonus once, but that's pretty good. And then Monster Warden allows you to, when you grant the bonuses from Monster Hunter, you and your allies also gain a bonus of +1 circumstance to your next saving throw against that creature and to your AC against that creature's attacks. So essentially, oh, and I'm sorry, Monster Hunter also gives the +1 to hit to your allies. So this is kind of the core function of the class, and why nature is another one of those skills, just because it allows you to, when you do your hunt prey, which you're always going to do, you can recall knowledge as a part of that. And if you crit succeed that check, which if you invest enough in your skills, becomes really easy eventually, especially like around level 10 or so, you're able to give you and your allies a +1 circumstance to your attack, save, and AC against a creature, against a particular boss. That's a really good start to a combat, and it's just solid overall.
Yeah, that's real good.
It's really, really good. The Monster Hunter Warden combo is just a solid pick. And next it goes into Hunter's Luck, which gives you the Ranger's Luck, or Hunter's Luck. Next up is the Hunter's Luck focus spell, which comes up as a free action based on when you make a recall knowledge check about a creature. You can make the check twice and take the better result. This is when you attempt the check, but you haven't rolled yet. So you are using a focus point to hopefully get a little bit better. But since crit fishing is really important for how Monster Hunter and is it Monster Warden? Monster Warden, yeah, work, it's really important to be able to crit fish out for that. So it's a really good use of your focus point. And for a class that doesn't use their focus points for really much of anything else, I mean, it's not bad, especially against like an important monster. And you just need to rest for 10 minutes and you can start the next combo off doing it. And again, this is all with just the use of your hunt prey action. I have to reiterate. You hunt prey, recall knowledge, and then pop the Hunter's Luck to get advantage on it to give you and your allies a circumstance bonus against the creature. Great synergy, all works together perfectly.
And people say that this version of Ranger's bad?
Well, they're talking about wit specifically. Okay. And what Outwit does is that you get a +2 circumstance bonus to deception checks, intimidation checks, stealth checks, and most importantly, recall knowledge checks about the prey. So you get a circumstance bonus to that recall knowledge that you're also getting advantage on. And if you crit, you and your allies get a circumstance bonus to hit and avoid the creature. Outwit also gives you a +1 circumstance bonus to AC against your prey's attacks. So even if you don't crit, you're still getting an AC bonus. It's just not shared to your allies.
Yeah, still good. Just, not as good of a support buff for everyone.
So once all that's done, which really makes up the real bread and butter of this particular build, it starts going into some of the more combat-y feats. First taking up Skirmishing Strike. Or sorry, my apologies. Skirmish Strike. It allows you for a single action to step and strike, or strike then step. This is really good because as an action, You can either close the gap with an enemy, meaning that if an enemy is just a step away from you, you don't lose any action efficiency to get up to them. But more importantly, what this does is as long as the enemy doesn't have reach, you can strike them and step away, forcing the enemy to use an action to get closer to you before striking, meaning they don't get 3 actions to just do whatever they want to you, which is pretty good and really smart.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see here. Gotta look up these other feats. Oh my god, Ranger has so many feats now.
They do.
All right, the next 2 feats coming up here on this build is Double Prey and Shared Prey. This is another really good combo. I mean, Shared Prey comes off of Double Prey, so it's a really, it's expected, obviously. But Double Prey allows you to, when you hunt prey, you can focus on 2 targets at once, which is really good. And then Shared Prey, which you pick up a little bit later here in the build at level 14, allows you to, if you select only a single target, you can give the benefits of your hunt prey and your hunter's edge to one of your allies. Meaning that because we're using Outwit, your ally gets a bonus to deception checks and stealth checks, and that +1 circumstance bonus to AC against the creature. So you can share with your tank to give your tank even more AC against a creature, or you can share with your rogue who is using feint a lot to get benefits, or your swashbuckler especially, to give them a +2 circumstance bonus, which stacks with the status bonus that swashbucklers get from Panache, I might add, to get really good feints off, making an enemy super flat-footed. It's just a really good combination at all, and further goes to show this essentially builds focus on supporting the allies, well, kind of just getting benefit. Again, this is based on a hunt prey, and Double Prey isn't a free action or reaction, so this also stacks with the benefits from Monster Hunter and Monster Warden as well. So when you very first action of the fight, you can double hunt prey 1, give an ally the benefits of your hunt prey, make a recall knowledge check, and if you crit, give yourself and the rest of your allies bonuses to hit and defend themselves against the creature. With 1 action.
What the?
1
that
action.
Amazing. That's phenomenal. What the? Oh my god.
Some of the free archetypes that they picked up with this build as well was the Gunslinger dedication, so you do need to have access to guns in your game. Most games probably okay, but, just so you know. And they went with the Pistolero, and so they could dual-wield handguns, and then they pick up the dual weapon reload, which allows you to reload when you have a weapon in your hand, which is very, very handy, especially with handguns. And then you're picking up Drow Shootist eventually, so that you can get repeating hand crossbow training. So even if you don't have access to guns, you can still use your crossbows with it. You also get Crossbow Terror, which is really good, just ups your damage when you're using crossbows. And they recommended picking up the Half-Elf, and so you could pick up Nimble Elf and Multi-Talented. Nimble Elf allows you to, I believe, it increases your speed or allows you to step 10 feet. Oh, wait. Oh, that's a good idea. 1 second. I think I know what they did here. Oh, no, dang. It was just Nimble Elf increases your speed by 5 feet, which is good.
Hmm.
Which is really solid. This also stacks with Fleet. So technically, you could give your character an overall +10 bonus to your speed. I was thinking of the Elfin feat. Which one is it? Oh, okay. Never mind. I was mistaken. I thought Elf Step allowed you to step 10 feet. No, it's an action where you step twice.
Hmm.
I was figuring with the Skirmish Strike, being able to step 10 feet would stack really well because you can move 10 feet in with a step with a creature with a reach weapon, for instance, and then back out of it. So,
That'd be nuts.
which would be really good.
Yeah.
And then multi-talented to pick up the Archer dedication. I actually don't think you can, actually. Because multi-talented specifies it has to be a multi-class archetype dedication, which Archer is not. But Archer is also a really good archetype dedication. So
True.
that is kind of a bit of a flaw with the build here. I think it's a good idea, but multi-talented is for multi-class archetype dedication specifically.
Could you just switch around Gunslinger in this one then? Flip him.
Oh, and then I almost forgot one other thing as well. The Master Monster Hunter at level 10 that's here in the build makes it so that so that when you get a success when you recall knowledge, it counts as a critical success instead. So, stacked with Monster Hunter and Monster Warden allows you to get those bonuses off just on a success. And again, only with just a hunt prey action at the beginning of combat. Just really good. So yeah, that's
really has a lot of like really good just compounding stacks. Like thing that just combos with like 3 other things in the build that make it a lot better.
So yeah, it's really, really good. It's a very solid one, and it makes Outwit really good. Honestly, like again, Flurry, it's really hard because Flurry can allow you to eventually attack with no more than like a -2 penalty to all your extra attacks, which is kind of nutty. But Outwit allows you to do a lot of things in and outside of combat. You can hunt prey someone right in front of you. It's a concentrate action. They don't know you're hunting them, which allows you to lie to them more easily, to sneak past a guard more easily. Like, you get a bonus to AC. It's like, there's so many good things about Outwit that just, if in the right hands, Outwit's really solid. And this dedication, or this build for sure, really highlights it. All right, there's that one.
All right. Well, I guess quick question. Make sure we're not doing the same ones. The next build I'm going to do is actually going... I'm going to alter it. I'm going to do the Dark Angel build. Were you planning on touching that one?
No.
Okay, cool. Want to make sure I wasn't yoinking one you were going to do.
No. I have to do one from Nagatsune because Nagatsune did like 7 builds. So
I also like there's many reasons why I'm definitely covering this one.
I wonder why.
Yeah, there's multiple compounding things.
Okay, fair.
Yeah, there's multiple. There also is the obvious one. Like, don't get me wrong.
You're right.
As I was informed during this like table talk, this stream, this was intended to get a reaction out of me. But alrighty. I do have all the feats pulled up at least.
Yeah, so whenever you're ready, it
Yeah.
started.
All right. Well, for the build that I'm going to cover, I'm going to talk about the Dark Angel build made by Dead Phoenix. A build that I both think is really cool and has some things in there that I'm not, there's some stuff in there. Mainly that it's a champion, and if you watch Table Talk at all, I'm very outspoken with the fact that I'm very anti-champion in Pathfinder 2e. Though I will be completely honest, I think this build does fix some of the problems I have with Pathfinder champions. I think the thing that it's built to do is really cool, and the idea that it's a dread fighter build, like where you are meant to intimidate the enemy and be this horrifying, avenging, source of divine wrath, while also being able to buff your allies a bit, and even as it's mentioned in the write up for it, have almost like you can apply the softer touch for like diplomacy if the situation calls for it outside of combat. I'll touch on some of the skill feats and stuff. One thing with this build that I also appreciate is that I think the ancestry and backgrounds are really interesting, in that it's very variable, that you can attach this build to a character you're planning. As honestly, as long as you're picking something for your ancestry and background that have strength or charisma, it works really well. For the ancestry, they went with Kitsune for their personal build, and then also referenced lizard folks might get something better for it. And for background, they personally use martial discipline. But if you get something that has strength or charisma, you can tailor make this class to fit you a bit better. And for skill feats, some of the stuff you can do touches on the things I mentioned earlier. Titan Wrestler, Intimidating Glare. As also mentioned, fun thing about this build, Frightened is really good. It is, I do completely agree. Frightened is the best status effect you can give to an enemy. Like, Demoralize is, when used by a really demoralized heavy character, is scary good. Intimidating Prowess, similar thing. Quick Coercion, I also really like the feat Scare to Death. I really like it. I think it's a super fun feat. But onto the main class itself. For the class feats, a lot of this is I'll roll through them. For your first feat, you get Ranged Reprisal, where you can use the Retributive Strike reaction with a ranged weapon. So someone's trying to attack your ally, you can shoot them right back, even if they're far away, or if you're far away. Next up, for Vengeful Oath. Next up for your feats, you can use Vengeful Oath, which gives you the option to use Lay on Hands to damage a creature that was harming an innocent or an ally, as if they're undead. And you know me, I really like the idea of making a support healing option as a weapon. That is a fun extra use for Lay on Hands that I didn't know was an option. I feel like I would be taking that for any champions I make. You also have Aura of Courage, where you can, whenever you become frightened, you reduce the condition value by 1. And also, at the end of your turn, when you would reduce your frightened condition value by 1, you also reduce the value of 1 for all allies within 15 feet. This build really does allow for you to frighten enemies and also make sure that your team is resistant against frightened.
I will say we're playing in a game with a champion that has Aura of Courage. It makes enemies that use any kind of frightened condition completely useless. It just reduces, and then the champion just prevents their allies from being frightened. So any enemies that are like, my thing is scaring people, the champion's like, sucks to be you, checkmate.
As well, you get Smite Evil. While it's not 5e Smite, I think it is a nice little bonus on there. Until starting your next turn, your strikes with the weapon and your strikes with the weapon, your blade ally inhabits against the foe that deals an extra. Oh my god, is this just me or is this feat written really weird?
It might be written weird.
Until the start of your next turn, your strikes with the weapon your blade ally inhabits against that foe dealt an extra 4 good damage. Okay, this is written weird. So, you get an extra 4, or later on, as you master your weapon, 6 extra damage. While it's not dumping d8s, I mean, extra damage is extra damage. That's always handy. And especially if you're fighting a thing that is, weak to good damage. That can always be helpful. Next, for your level 8 feat, you get the Litany Against Wrath, which gives you the Litany of Wrath Devotion spell, which allows you to make a target take a will save, which as well, if they are a particular wrathful creature, like a wrath demon, they use the outcome 1 degree of success worse than the result of their saving throw. Some of the things they can do: on a crit success, they're unaffected. On a success, the first time that target uses an action that deals damage to at least 1 good creature, that target takes 3d6 good damage. When they fail, each time that target uses an action that deals damage to at least 1 good creature, the target takes 3d6 good damage. And if they crit fail, they're enfeebled too, and same as before, doing an action to a good creature, 3d6 good damage. I think it's an extra fun way to debuff an enemy, as depending on how badly they fail and what type of enemy they are, having like a lockdown ability like that, where they're really just by acting in combat, they're taking extra damage. I feel like it's a super handy debuff to toss on a creature. And for the next feat, we have a Radiant Blade Spirit, which allows you choose a weapon for your blade ally during your daily preparations and add the following property runes to the list of effects you can choose from: Flaming, and any aligned properties to your cause, which, anarchic. You know what? I'm not going to pronounce those. Those are hard, fake Harvard words. For the cause specifically, that this character is built for, it's going to be, you're going to get some extra holy damage and get the holy rune onto your weapon.
It's alignment damage.
Is it alignment damage?
Yes. Anarchic means it does chaos damage, hurts lawful creatures, and
that next word's not real.
Axiomatic?
Yeah.
Yes, axiomatic means lawful. And what's the last one? Oh, there's no neutral.
No. Well, this specific cause is a lawful good one. So
yeah, so it would be axiomatic.
All right. Well, you get the axiomatic rune for your weapon.
The big one's flaming, because you just get a flaming weapon.
What better to give your holy avenging, like, Dread Fighter? Honestly. Next up, you get Blade of Justice, which allows you to you call down your divine power and make a weapon or unarmed strike against a foe you witness harming innocent, which allows you to deal 2 extra weapon damage dice to the target if they are evil. Which that kind of feels like a mini 5e smite, so I'm immediately into it. As well, you get Aura of Vengeance. I think actually this might be... this one specifically, there's actually 2 options for your level 14 smite. One of them being Aura of Vengeance. When you use your Retributive Strike, your allies who make strikes only take a -2 penalty instead of a -5. Allows you to get that action a bit more consistently. Or you can take Divine Reflexes, which gives you an additional reaction to use your champion reaction. So depending on what flavor of that, if you want to use your reaction more often or buff your allies in a much more helpful way, take away that -5, turn it to a -2. I think both of those are pretty good options. I feel like I'd be hard pressed to try to decide which one I'd take, to be completely honest. For your level 16 feat, you will get Instrument of Zeal. Whenever you critically hit a foe with Blade of Justice or a Retributive Strike, your attack adds an extra damage dice and is slowed 1. I do love this feat, this build does give you just lots of access to extra damage dice.
Yeah, it was designed with you in mind.
I'm very happy. As well, for your level 18 feat, you get Celestial Form, which allows you to, take on a form that's related to your deity, which being a giant, like, avenging angel with a flaming sword, that's sick, dude. I'm super into that. And then for your level 20 feat, there are 2 other options you can take. One of the options being Sacred Defender, which gives you resistance 10 to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage caused by creatures and effects opposed to your tenants. So you're good. So evil creatures, you'll get resistance against. And if these creatures crit you, they don't improve their result by 1 degree of success. That is a really fun defensive tool. Hopefully you're fighting a lot of evil creatures if you're playing this. And the other option is the Aura of Unbreakable Virtue, which makes all evil creatures within 15 feet of you take a -1 status penalty to checks and DC that target you or your allies, and or a -2 against creatures you have taken an oath against. Which you can also choose to, suppress or resume the aura as an action. Personally, if I had to pick one of those 2, I'd say Sacred Defender. I think that's really fun. The being so against the evil creatures that you are just naturally more resistant to. That is such a fun ability to have. And for your free archetype, you'll be taking the Martial Dedication, which helps you. This is a archetype I've looked into for a build I was working on. It has some really fun options in there, allowing you to have a lead your allies in combat a lot better, or debuff some of your enemies. As one of the things you'll be taking with this is the Dread Martial stance, which helps you encourage your allies to strike fear into the hearts of your foes, as you have to make a check. When you use this stance, you'll do a intimidation check around your standard difficulty level of your class DC, unless the DM decides otherwise, which allows you to either, if you crit succeed on it, your martial aura, you get a 20-foot emanation on it, and it grants you and your allies a status bonus to damage rolls equal to the number of weapon damage dice of the unarmed attack or weapon you are wielding that has the most weapon damage dice. And whenever you or an ally in your aura critically hits an enemy, they are frightened 1. If you succeed, it's the same as critical success, but your aura size doesn't increase. You fail it, you fail to enter the stance. You crit fail it, you can't enter that stance for a minute. Let's see. Dang, there's a good amount of martial abilities, or martial feats.
Yeah, you don't need to necessarily name off everything.
Okay.
Just the things that you find are useful for the build.
Yeah. Okay. I think some other fun things about this is getting this character to have attack opportunity, I think, is a necessity for this build. If you're going to be scaring things and striking fear into the hearts of, like, evil creatures and, like, monsters and demons and stuff, you can't let them run away. You're an avenging angel, like, sent from your deity. You can't let them escape. Also, some fun stuff with, like, coordinated charge, where you can stride up to your speed and make a melee strike. If the strike hits and damages an enemy, each ally within 60 feet who saw you can use a reaction to stride. I mean, helping your allies move in faster to get into combat, I think, is a really fitting feat for this. As well, for the last one we'll talk about, you can get a Tactical Cadence. When you grant allies the Quicken condition using your Cadence Call, which you also get access to in this build, they can use the extra action to either stride or strike, and they aren't slowed 1 on their following turn if they use the extra action. I think this build really balances the idea of buffing your allies in a really interesting way, bringing in this courage and almost like tactical efficiency, while also being absolutely horrifying to deal with for anything that is evil. I will say, Dead Phoenix, you have succeeded in making a Pathfinder champion build that I think is cool. I don't think this is going to happen very much in the future, but god damn it, you made me like this class for this one specific build. So I guess you succeeded. But there you go. There's my spiel.
And I do want to mention as well for the video, I'm not just like looking at Twitter or anything. I'm actually reading the builds here on my phone.
I'm also been doing the same thing.
So if we're looking down, it's because we're using Discord at the moment for recording our faces. So makes it hard to kind of read the stuff on our computers. So we're using our phones too. So
I have it on my second monitor. Like, so I'm looking off in this direction. I am reading through Archive of Nethys and making sure my information's right, and making sure that I'm not misconstruing what the build does. So I'm doing the same thing. I'm just looking off from like forward.
And I'm just reading along because I find these interesting for sure. But yeah, so hopefully it's not too distracting. It's just one of those things where like I wanna look at the build while we're talking about it, but I know it just looks like me looking at my phone on video. So you know.
Yeah.
All right, I just want to read the synopsis for this one before beginning.
Yeah, I hope you're proud of yourself, Dead Phoenix. Can't believe I was proven wrong in any form of the word. Ugh.
All right. All right, and for the last build we're going to look at here today is going to be one from Nagatsune. Nagatsune made like half of the entries for this particular community spotlight, and a lot of them were good. It's also super funny because at the time that the community spotlight was announced, I was working on my true necromancy build, and like half of Nagatsune's entries were necromancer builds, which I just find super funny. But Nagatsune did have some really good ones, and so I picked my favorite amongst the bunch, and that's going to be the Dread Reaper. So the Dread Reaper is, if funny enough, another intimidation bully build, just done in a slightly different way. This is an Oracle build, actually. And the main focus of it is that you're going to be a frontline caster that's debuffing enemies, using your scythe to trip enemies, and using the Dread Marshal again to debuff them as well, while allowing all your undead summons to put them down, more or less. The Reanimator dedication is a strong function of most necromancy builds, and this one allows you to essentially summon multiple undead, and because you're debuffing enemies so hard, even though they're going to be 3 to 4 levels under you, they're still going to be able to make a mark on your enemies. So the main focuses of this build, stat-wise first, charisma obviously for Oracle, and strength is going to be massive, because this build is going to eventually evolve into a heavy armor build, and you're going to be tripping a lot of enemies, so you need that athletics. Con, you're going to be on the front line, and wisdom for initiative purposes, honestly. I mentioned in a lot of my videos. Initiative is really important for survival. Being able to position yourself early in combat is better, and the earlier in combat you go, the more actions you get inherently. So, it's very important. So, it's a Bones Oracle with a skill focus of Intimidation, Athletics, and Religion. Heavy emphasis on Intimidation and Athletics. It's all about demoralize. It's all about the Dread Martial stance and knocking the enemies over. Now, unfortunately, and this happens with a lot of builds, is it's a human mandatory build. Mm-hmm. Because you need extra feats at level 1 to make a lot of these builds work. This one, though, is for the general training rather than natural ambition, which allows you to take an extra class feat. This one is for general training, which gives you the armor proficiency so that you can wear medium armor, so that later we can get to heavy armor without too much, issue. And then you need to also pick up weapon proficiency for the scythe because you need access to martial weapons. So that's very, very important. But generally, you take a lot of Dread Martial starting off. You get the Dread Martial dedication, the stance, Cadence Call levels 2, 4, and 6. I mean, Alex already explained some of these. More or less, you get an aura of intimidation on enemies within a certain range. And Cadence Call is actually very important for this build. Let me just pull this up here. Cadence Call allows you for a single action once per minute. You essentially generate a cadence using some kind of rhythm, either sword on shield or in this case, I guess, banging your scythe on the ground. And each ally within the Marshal's aura is quickened until the end of their next turn, and they can use the extra action only to stride. At the end of each ally's turn, if they use this extra action, they become slowed 1. This allows you to move into combat a lot easier. Now, I don't know if the intent was for this to be used with the undead minions you summon. Mostly because I don't believe quicken actions work. Minions technically have actions at the beginning of their turn, so they can be stuns, but you need to use command, and they can only ever get 2 actions. But quickened is a free action. So technically, it's not. It could technically work. I guess it skirts a line that's very hard to properly identify. But regardless, this is good for your allies as well. And then obviously getting into Reanimator Dedication, Macabre Virtuoso, and picking up Deathly Secrets to subjugate undead. These Macabre Virtuoso allows you to essentially, you can sustain your undead spell as a part of casting another Animate Dead spell. And then when you use an action to sustain Animate Dead, you can sustain it for both of your Animate Dead spells. So it allows you to more or less have 2 undead minions summons on the field and only having 1 action to give them each 2 actions. Which means you get 6 actions actually doing this. 2 or 4 for your minions, and then 2 for you to do whatever else, which is tripping or casting one of your spells as a Bone Oracle. There's a lot of different ways you can go about doing this. And Deathly Secrets is another good one. It allows you to get something like Subjugate Dead. So if you ever come across any other undead, this allows you to bring them to heal, which really fits the Dread Reaper to a T. At level 14, you're picking up the Sentinel Dedication, which will move your medium armor proficiency to heavy armor, so you can have heavy armor. You're a frontline combatant. It's really, really important. That's why having high strength is really important, and it's overall just a big armor boost. Then picking up Tactical Cadence, Master of Death, and then you pick one Oracle feat in this whole build. One Oracle feat, and it's gonna be the Oracular. What's it called?
Oracular Providence.
Oracular Providence, which I believe gives you another 10th level spell.
I really like the whole idea that it's only your final feat is the only Oracle feat you take.
Yeah, you just get an additional 10th level spell, which is fair. It's funny. But to be fair, a lot of casters in Pathfinder 2e don't have the best feats. But it does allow you to then multi-class into other things and make your builds more diverse. So, like, that's a great thing about Pathfinder. Even if your class doesn't have great feats, you just have more reason to diversify how you play the game by picking up other dedication feats. It's a win-win, honestly. But yeah, a lot of the key, like, skill feats that you pick up: Intimidating Glare, Titan Wrestler, Battle Cry, Terrified Retreat, Scare to Death, all of the standard athletics and intimidation-based feats. Group Coercion, and I do like the notes that Nagatsune left here. Group Coercion for making your uncontrolled, non-hostile, intelligent undead do your bidding. And then Lingering Coercion for making your uncontrolled, non-hostile, intelligent undead do your bidding longer. So if you can get access to the ritual Create Undead, you can eventually create intelligent undead. And when you do so, you can then coerce them through intimidation to do your bidding. So it's something that's very important. And I like the idea of a necromancer that, rather than summoning mindless undead that are completely under their control, they revive people and then kind of use that as blackmail. Like, I gave you a second chance at life, but you gotta do what I say before you can go about your merry way and do whatever you wish to do. So I think that's a really cool idea for the build in general. And if you're going for free archetypes, obviously, it allows you to pick up more of the Reanimator and more of the Martial feat. Picking up Lich, if you really want to go down that Dark Caster Animator style of play. And strangely, this was posted, let's see here, on September 2nd. Corpse Tender, which came out literally today as we're recording this video. They put Corpse Tender as one of their free archetype options, I guess, to control their non-hostile, mindless undead. Also, I guess the ability to get a harm spell for the purpose of healing their minions or taking control of them, or whichever have you.
I see that part getting, like, harm being really helpful. I don't know how helpful the other stuff would be, but the harm spell would be really handy.
The free harm spell is cool. Yeah, I mean, and the ability to brainwash undead and even, like, mind wipe intelligent undead as well.
That's true.
And another thing they ended up taking as well is Canny Acumen to pick up Fortitude, which is really good and makes your Fortitude expert for a saving throw rather than just trained, which, you're a frontline fighter, it's kind of important. But I do like this style of Necromancer because rather than just pump out undead or spending all your time and money and wasting your group's time just focused on reanimating undead as much as possible, this one does feel like a lot more of, you can summon undead if you need to, but a lot of it is focused on coercing intelligent undead to work for you. More like an undead organization than actually like a necromancer dominating people. And it definitely has the Reaper aesthetic to it as well, because who doesn't like being scary and wielding a scythe? It's just peak fantasy. So that was my favorite from these Necromancer builds.
Especially with the magic item they reference as being extra fun. If you want to really be the absolute Grim Reaper of this build, the 100 Moth Caress, that is one of the coolest weapon names I've ever heard, I'll be honest. That is such a good name. And also the abilities they mentioned that it can do is really, really effective.
That's really cool. And it has good lore implications because it's a sacred item of Urgotha.
Yeah.
Or Argothoa, say, who's the like goddess of undead castaways, essentially, or undead exiles. So definitely very, very interesting. Damage enhancer for many of the necromantic spells that the build is likely to cast when being forced to play it safe on the backline, including its very potent first level mystery focus spell, Soul Siphon. Yeah, Soul Siphon is really good. Yeah, they didn't even mention some of the really good Oracle spells and feats that you can pick up from Bone Oracle in general. And that's also a thing. You're a Bone Oracle. As the fight is going on and you're using more of your oracular focus spells, you're slowly decaying on the battlefield. Bones start being shown, and you get like resistance to death effects and everything like that. You do become, I believe, doomed or drained and doomed, which reduces your constitution, and it makes it really hard for this build to be a real strong front fighter. But with Sentinel picked in the mix and everything like that, I do like the style. I just think this is a different approach to necromancy that you don't normally get in these kind of games. So that was my pick, and Nagasuni definitely earned a spot on our spotlight because they pumped out build videos like within the first few days.
Yeah, lots of builds, and all of them very solid. Like, it's not even like quality over quantity. Like, they're all really fun builds. There's a lot of them. Like, good on you. I wish I could do that.
But yeah, this is a really fun video to do. I definitely think I've learned a few things from this video as well. And there's some really good builds out there. And one of them, we're actually doing this live. One of them mentioned that they haven't even played the game and they made one of the builds that came up on this video. That's just how great the builds are for Pathfinder 2E and just how ridiculously fun there are. And there are some that I wish we had more time to get into, honestly. But this video has gone way longer than I was hoping it would. We spent probably about twice as long doing each of these, or 3 times as long as expected. But you know what? It's a community build. It's all about celebrating our awesome community we have here on the Discord and showing off their builds. And not only that, I will notate this video with each build so you can just watch this video and hop to the build of your choice. So, that will be available. I probably should have said this in the beginning. Maybe I'll cut this into the beginning, but regardless.
Like unsequential storytelling. Take some parts in the middle, toss them in the beginning.
Yeah. And now here are the builds. There you go. There's our segue.
Perfect.
But yeah, anyway, I have fun, but we've been doing we just did this right after a stream. I'm tired. Alex's threat's probably killing him at this point.
I feel like I'm going to die.
I'm dying inside.
I'm dying. I want to lay down.
So we're going to go ahead and finish this one up. Thank you all so much for watching. Good luck with your games. Leave the bad luck to me. And I don't know, what's your outro, Alex?
My outro is all right, later. And that's what I say. The video ends. I mean, I can for sure say
no.
Joel.
I'm gonna cut this now. Right when you said all right later, I'm just gonna cut the video right there. Just hard cut, no fade away.
Like my actual sign off is like, see ya, and then it's done. That's. I don't have any. Don't leave that bad luck to me though. Keep that shit away from me. Like fucking God.
I said to me, not to us.
I know. I just like the idea of leave the bad luck to me. Yeah, keep it away from me. That shit away from me, please.
All right, but hey, that was good. Thank y'all for those who stuck around. Hopefully some of y'all got some catharsis having your builds shown off. This video will probably come out Saturday at the earliest or sometime next week. Tomorrow is the Flash Fire Fists monk build that's coming out that I'm very excited for. It's a really good one.
Good name.
Yeah, it's a good build. It's all about just diving into the backline and blowing enemies up with 1,000 punches of fire.
Hell yeah. I gotta ask, actually, like, you name all these builds yourself? Like, these are all your names for these builds? You're knocking it out of the park. I love all these build names.
Yeah.
Very good on you, man.
Honestly, Pathfinder does the work for you. Like,
that's true.
Honestly, it's very easy. My favorite one is still the Archivist. I'm so sad that video has not done as well. But the Archivist is definitely one of my favorite builds. And it makes sense for the name and all that.
It's a thing of, like, objectively, it's such a cool build. But, like, God, it is just a book nerd.
Yeah.
Reading? Ugh, cringe.
Yeah, but see, the thing is you can deflect people's weapons with your book.
Yeah, but it's a book.
What's more Sigma than a guy who reads a book during a combat and doesn't even pay attention?
A guy that uses a shield.
Guess what? He uses a shield because it's inside the book.
That's an inefficient book. I guess you win there.
That's one of the feats you get at you infuse a shield into your book.
Oh yeah, that's the it's Raised Tome, right?
No, Raised Tome allows you to use the book as a shield. There's a later feat that allows you to fuse a shield into your book, so your book gets the properties of that shield.
That's fun.
That's really good. It's just really just watching someone like just hold off a spear with their book, and they're just like, what the fuck kind of book is that? And just some weird name for the book is just like, oh yeah, it's the story of Bjorn Ironside or something like that.
It's just some book that he's like, it's not even a spell book, it's just some like fiction book he's in. Like he's like, it's a 20-part like a book series fantasy story he's going through that he's just like, I gotta get to the next book.
See, but that's the great thing about Raised Tome. It's any book. You can pick up any book and use it as a shield.
Yeah, you know what? I will say it would be the massive amount of disrespect of trying to fight a guy while he's actively like reading Dune, like in front of you, like just really crunching through this dense book, and you're like, yeah, there's no way he's paying attention to me because he can't. That's Dune. Of course, he's fully invested in that.
And yet you can't lay a finger on him because he's just like deflecting you off with the book.
It's like boom, boom, boom.
It's just really good. I can't wait for. I think I'll do a touch nothing psychic build.
Please,
just in honor of you, just a psychic build completely dedicated to touching as few things as possible.
Yeah, and if you want some art for it, feel free to use the art I use for Sebastian if you would ever need to indicate on it. Good. Yeah. And I do own it. I own it, and I made sure the artist is completely okay with it appearing on like stream and video. I asked when I got it commissioned.
I think and that art would be really good for that thumbnail style too.
Yeah, exactly.
The not desaturation. I don't even know what to call it.
I forget what the word is for when it's just dark like that.
Burning of the image.
Something like
technically.
Yeah, no. It is the artist gave consent for that to be used that way, and it is my property. So feel free.
Yeah, for sure. Anyway, we're gonna go ahead and end the stream now.
Yeah.
Goodbye, everyone. Good night.